Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a special Wednesday edition of GameFace for episode 485 right here on SIFTD at SIFTD.net. I'm Shane Satterfield, the host of this humble podcast, and alongside me to discuss all the biggest news and the releases from the week in video games is the one and only Matt Keil. How is it, Matt? How's the week going?
Well, if you want me to talk about all this stuff, you gotta pay me an extra $30.
If you haven't figured it out yet, we are going to talk about Grand Theft Auto 6.
You've unlocked my presence, but you have not unlocked the premium opinions yet.
Yeah, we're here for a special Wednesday edition. Last week we did Thursday, so we're bumping up. We're doing the show on 6 days instead of 7, and we're going to do the same thing next week to get back to Tuesday. And a lot of times it's tough to do show. That extra day a lot of times makes a big difference for whatever reason it usually does. And it just so happened that this morning it all dropped right into our lap. The pricing for Grand Theft Auto 6, the versions for Grand Theft Auto 6, obviously. We're going to talk about that off the top of the show here. So get ready for that. And we do have a great show. Even without the Grand Theft Auto stuff, I worked my butt off to make sure we had a good show today. So we have an awesome show, but not a lot of reviews and previews, mostly topical stuff, which I know a lot of you guys really enjoy. Kind of prefer shows like that. We have one review and a couple previews, but mostly kind of fun topical stuff to discuss. How's your week been, Matt?
All right.
Yeah? Do anything fun?
What? I saw He-Man. It was pretty good.
Really?
I liked it.
So it's one of those movies where everybody's hating on it, but it's not as bad as people say.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Certainly better than Mando and Grogu.
It feels like it was just too late, you know?
It's too late. It's very squarely aimed at, like, me.
Us, yeah.
It's like a 50-ish vague nostalgia for this property. Watched it when you were a kid, maybe had a couple of the toys, and feel like re-engaging with it for exactly the length of a feature film, and then forgetting about it. That is, and I don't think that demographic can really carry a $200 million film, right?
Yeah, they spent that much on it.
Something like that. Yeah, up there,
Yikes.
maybe 180.
Ooh.
It's a lot. They spent a lot, and they. But it's very funny. Like there's a lot. I think they nail like how to approach it. Like like there's a whole thing where like the weird names of the characters are purely because he was a kid when he was banished from Eternia, and like just that's what he named these people he remembered.
Kind of makes sense.
And like you never find out their real names,
Right.
but like it's like yeah, sure, that's why he's called Fisto. That's why he's Ram Man. That's why he's called He-Man.
Or He-Man.
He was a 10-year-old who was like making stuff up. There's like 5 fisting jokes in it.
What?
Like one of it turns into a blowjob joke, and you're like, this is your He-Man movie, okay?
Wow.
But like the 12-year-olds were loving it, and I gotta say, at the end of the movie, there's a teaser for what would be the most obvious sequel you can imagine.
Yeah.
Right? She-Ra's in there, and which I think would have a bigger audience because of the Netflix movie,
Yeah.
the Netflix series that was a hit a few years ago. But the little She-Ra tease happens, and this kid over to the right in the theater goes, "Daddy, I want to see that movie." And I'm like, "Me too, kid. Me too." My other favorite audience moment for that was the previews. The previews were like half R-rated movies, which I thought was interesting. So clearly, I guess they really were targeting us. Really.
Yeah.
But one of them was for this movie called How to Rob a Bank, which is like, a heist sort of almost Soderbergh-y sort of.
Ocean's 11 style.
Not really, no.
No.
It's more of a critique of modern social media stuff,
Oh.
and like Instagram fame and influencers and stuff. But basically, it's about a group of people who start, in order to stick it to the financial system, start robbing banks on live stream.
Oh.
With like animal masks and
I
stuff. So
see.
a little bit like Point Break in that regard. But they it's like here's how
Payday.
you
That's
here's
all
how
about
you
wearing
rob
the
a
masks.
bank, and here's how you but Payday took it from Point Break.
Right.
But here's how you rob a bank, and look, Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Here's how you rob the bank, and they get away with it on stream, and people they're like heroes because they're sticking to the man
Right.
and stuff. So that's the kind of the story is like they're trying to be this cops trying
The
to track them
resistance. Yeah.
down. And very fight the power sort of like crime heisty sort of thing. And at the end of it, this like 10-year-old kid in front of us goes, "I want to see that movie," and his dad goes, "What?" I thought it was a very fun. Like clearly the child has never shown any interest in anything like that at all ever before, and like it wasn't like an angry what.
Right.
It was just like what, like it was just
That's great.
very funny.
Yeah.
So I saw that, and then on Monday I saw The Furious, which is that big martial arts like Thailand.
Yeah, I've seen
thing.
stuff for it.
Very good. As an avowed raid hater, because I didn't like the raid. I thought it was just sort of
okay.
I mean, obviously the fight stuff is amazing, but like the movie is dumb.
Yeah.
It barely has a story on the level of like Double Dragon. Like it's just cops fighting.
I will say I did turn my brain off to watch that.
Absolutely, you had to. I mean, on Raid 2, I just started fast forwarding to the fight scenes. Like it's just
I kind of started.
This one has more meat to it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very good. Again, you got to kind of do the thing where it's like, okay, anyone who knows kung fu has superpowers.
Yeah.
And no one knows how long their sword is, so they're not going to actually stab anybody with it because it's all. A lot of people are. There's the one at a time thing, and everyone's sliding around. But it's very impressive work, and there's a nice kind of fake out, not the real ending thing they do, and it's fun.
Okay.
It's good.
Well, that's cool.
Worth seeing if you can find it in a theater near you, I'd say.
We even enjoyed He-Man, so
yeah,
not a bad week of movies.
I mean, He-Man was pretty good. I mean, sort of in the Speed Racer category, where it's just like,
I like Speed Racer.
This is as good as this was going to be. It's actually pretty inventive in a lot of ways. It plays with the subject matter in a similar way that Barbie does. It's just never going to be...
The kids don't care.
The kids don't care, and it's never going to be as important as Barbie filmmaking wise, because Barbie is a far more important cultural icon.
Right. Yeah.
And He-Man is mostly
There's
just
no
Skeletor.
social message in He-Man.
Well, there is, because it was
really?
at the end of every episode you got the lesson of the thing.
That's right.
With Orko and everything.
That's right.
Because that's how they got away.
Knowing's half the battle.
Well, that was G.I. Joe.
That's right.
That's how they got away with it being around the outrage of like, oh, you're just trying to sell a commercial to our kids. It's like, oh, we're teaching them how to be good people. It's like, okay. I mean, the Reagan administration removed all the safety regulations that stopped you from making a show based on toys to sell, but they still had to sort of appease some parent groups. So that's why all those shows had the little
disclaimer at the end.
The little
PSA.
little PSA at the end. That's
the more you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. That's literally why those existed.
Yeah, interesting.
So it's fun. The main thing is that and Skeletor is really good. The only character in all of Masters of the Universe that anyone cares about and has resonated culturally ever is Skeletor.
That's strange.
Masters of the Universe. The only character that has any sort of relevance today is Skeletor. Mattel has literal internal focus marketing testing that shows that the only character anyone cares about is Skeletor.
That's so weird.
Because he's the only memorable character in the whole thing.
Yeah,
that's the only thing anyone thinks about when they think of that. And to be fair,
I think of Battle Cat, but
probably Jared Leto's best performance.
Yeah.
They do a lot of fun things with him. The glowing eyes disappear when he blinks, which is for some reason very endearing.
Yeah.
And there's a whole thing near the end where he ends up in He-Man's mind and ends up going through a day in the life, and he's in the gym in a purple torn sleeve hoodie, and then he's in a purple like a HR like the button shirt with the coffee. He's like, where am I? What is that? And I'm like, you know what, guys? If this had just been Skeletor gets zapped into the modern world and has to work an office job, I think this movie would have done better.
That's funny.
Because that's the closest it gets to the tone of Barbie. And I'm like, that might have been your winner there.
Yeah.
Focus on Skeletor, fish out of water stuff, and lean into that. That might have been a hit.
Yeah.
But I mean, they did as good as they could do with this, and it's Travis Knight who directed Bumblebee, who seems to really know how to bring heart to. I mean, everyone's doing Idris Elba is putting way more into this movie than he needs to. Idris Elba has a scene where he cries in this movie. Idris Elba does not need to cry in a He-Man movie, but he does it because he's trying to get there, and I appreciate that.
He's a house DJ.
Yeah.
Big time. Not some dude who fiddles with it. Plays out at big gigs.
Idris Elba contains multitudes, no question.
I saw him play a set.
Multi-talented
He's
man.
Every bit as good as I am.
Mm-hmm.
He's been playing for 20-some years.
Oh, yeah.
It blew my mind. He's just even more awesome than I thought he was.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He should have been James Bond.
Yeah, you're probably right, actually. Yeah, but that'll never happen.
Too late.
Yeah.
I mean, even with all the political issues of it, it's that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They should have given up on Daniel Craig sooner and just put Idris Elba in there and called it a day.
Yep. Well, we have a couple things for housekeeping before we get into episode 485. You may remember in last week's show, I started talking about GameFace TLDR and the struggles we've been having trying to get it in front of people and blah, blah, blah. I asked you guys for something that maybe you would like in its place, and I said I was going to put up a poll on our Patreon. I did all that, and the poll, first of all, TLDR lost. So get out the sound effect here. GameFace TLDR is dead. So I'm going to play taps for GameFace TLDR. Yet something else that I worked my ass off on that did absolutely nothing. Remember last year, Matt, it was the live reviews that we did for 4 months. So every year I start the year with this blind enthusiasm that I can start doing something new and that people will watch it, and it never works. It never works. I do it every year. So anyway, you guys all said stop doing TLDR. And then of the options that I presented, literally a dead tie between do one video review per week and launch another podcast. Literally 35 to 35% of the votes. Dead tie. So I have to choose, I guess, or maybe I could alternate. Anyway, I just want to say thank you to everybody who gave us any sort of feedback, whether you did it live here on the show last week, whether you did it on the archive on SIFTD.net, whether you're doing it right now on the archive on our YouTube channel. I just want to say thank you very much. First of all the words were kind. Everybody was like, we love everything you guys do. Like, keep doing what you're doing. Like, you're not going to lose us. So everybody was just really awesome with the way they gave us feedback. Everyone acted like adults, like everybody does on SIFTD. So I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to give us your input on that stuff. And I'll let you know when I kind of make the decision on what we're going to do with that extra day every week. And I'll probably have that for you next week. But just want to let you know how all that stuff worked out. And I wanted to thank all you guys for taking the time to give us feedback on that stuff. I really appreciate it. And then something that happened this week that we're not going to discuss because it's too small, but it's more of a confirmation of something we've discussed before. This week, PlayStation's CEO finally announced officially in 2 different places that PlayStation is in fact leaving PC. So that's it. That's done. Maybe I should play taps for that. So we had heard, there's a couple quotes that came out that we had known pretty much that it was confirmed, but now the CEO has said it and it's a done deal. So no single player PlayStation games launching for PC going forward. Could PlayStation change its mind eventually and go back on that? Maybe, but probably not. And then the final thing for housekeeping for this week's episode is tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, Capcom is having what is essentially its not E3 Summer Game Fest 2026 press event. So Capcom Spotlight tomorrow at 2 p.m., 5 p.m., depending on what part of the country you're in. And of course, if you're in Europe or Japan or wherever, it's completely different. But yeah, you get to see, I think they're going to show Dragon's Dogma 2, the DLC and all that stuff. And they're showing Monster Hunter Stories 3. So I'm guessing there's DLC coming for that. So there's like 3 or 4 games. I do not think they're showing Resident Evil Code Veronica, though. It looks like they're not going to show that tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a little too early for that.
Yeah. But anyway, that will be live on SIFTD tomorrow. It'll probably be in your SIFs at noon. It'll give you 2 hours to prepare to watch it if you want to, but just a heads up on all that stuff. And that's pretty much it. Again, we'll be back on Tuesday. So next week's episode will also be after 6 days like this one was, not a full week. And hopefully we get back on Tuesday for next week, and then we're there for the rest of the year, because after we get out of June and the early part of July, it's just a deluge of game releases, pretty much until Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out. And boy, are we going to talk about that here in just a minute. Let's check in with you guys and see how y'all are doing on this fine Wednesday afternoon, which we haven't done in quite a while here on GameFace. Ashes in the Hourglass says that Capcom will probably announce the new Onimusha date. Yeah, so there's some stuff going on online saying that Onimusha might get delayed, which is on my fantasy team. So we'll see how that plays out. You're probably right, Ashes. That probably is what's going to happen. Oh, and then I should mention one other thing, too, about streaming on YouTube. So we got a lot of people that reached out to me. They were saying, like, please don't stop streaming on YouTube. Like, a lot of people. I was actually really surprised by it. But here's what we found out, and Vincent helped me figure this out, is that when we play licensed music before GameFace, like while you guys are waiting for the stream to start or whatever, that's taking all of our revenue. So what's happening is we play a couple songs before the stream starts, then we start the stream. All the ad revenue from GameFace, since we have been doing that, the live show, has been going to the music artists. They've been taking all the money for their song playing for like a minute before our stream.
Well, the song publishers, at least.
Right. Yeah, the artists don't get the money. But that's actually a good point that you brought that up. It's not the artists getting the money. It's the publishers that are ASCAP or whatever getting the money. So probably starting next week, we're not going to play licensed music before GameFace anymore. And I know it has been a tradition for 10 years, 12 years, or whatever, however long it's been. I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me and said that they Shazam the music that we play before GameFace, and they have found so many bands that they love before our show. I'm sorry, we're going to have to end it. That's just all there. It's either that or we stop streaming on YouTube. And I'll be honest with you, the feedback that I got when I mentioned that we might stop streaming on YouTube was extreme. So the other thing I would say too is last week we got a lot of super chats from our YouTube crew. People I think were trying to say, hey, like, don't go away. Please keep doing this. That's great for 1 week, but we had that when we first started streaming on YouTube. And after like 2 weeks, it all went away. And we ended up making less money on YouTube a year later than we did when we first started streaming on YouTube. So it's either the licensed music or the YouTube stream. And for now, it's going to be the licensed music. So I know a lot of you guys show up later. You don't care anyway. You don't even like the music that we play before the show because it's mostly alternative and electronic stuff. See, a lot of you may not care, but I know some of you do, so I just figured I'd let you know that. So starting next week, we're probably going to play corny YouTube library music before our streams. Sorry. But someone mentioned, like, hey, go make songs. Like, I wish I had the time to go make a bunch of songs to play before our podcast. It takes a lot of time to make tracks.
You could just loop the GameFace theme for
over
forever.
And over. Then no one will show up for us. That's it. That'd be the end of GameFace right there. So anyway, I just want to let you guys, I'm always honest with you guys. You know that. Like, I always tell you what's going on, so I just want to fill you in on kind of what's going on behind the scenes. And starting next week, there will be no licensed music before GameFace. I know for some of you guys that's a disappointment, but that's just the way it is. Khalid Twilight says, sounds like a job for Soundwizardry. Actually, maybe you're right. Maybe they do have some songs banging around, but I don't think they actually compose music. I don't think that's their forte, but still, good call, Khalid Twilight. Maybe I should at least reach out to them and be like, hey, can you help us out? But anyway, some changes coming to GameFace. That's life. Things change. You got to roll with the punches and change along with them. So, all right, let's scroll up here and see what y'all are saying. Cinetike says a bunch of leeches and music publishers play Renaissance stuff. I'm here for it. Let's play some chamber music.
I mean, that would also get copyright strikes.
You're right.
Because of the recording rights.
You're right. Yep. Chevelle Man, thank you for Twitch Prime, brother. Appreciate that. Hype Train incoming. Thank you, everyone, for that. Swanland says, make sure the public domain music is not the versions reclaimed by music publishers, or the same thing will happen. I've been dealing with licensed music stuff for 30 years. I'm pretty good at it at this point. We've not had any issues with kept tracks popping anything as far as copyright strikes, so we should be okay. A Million Miles Away, thank you for Twitch Prime. That's awesome. Dazzle6369, play some on-hold music on loop. Or just like elevator music or whatever. See if we got anything else. Always remember, guys, go at SIFTD Games if you want us to read your comment on the show. I opened for a band you played on here with a SIFTD sticker on the guitar once. That's awesome. Want to share what band that was, Silk Snake? That would be awesome to hear. Did you tell them to go to SIFTD and that I'm a fan of theirs and they should come to the site? And Vincent says classical stuff gets claimed too. Yeah. Soulwax Remix says, maybe I'm popular, but I love licensed free music. Are you a Soulwax fan? Like the group Soulwax? They make amazing mashup mixes. Like, I don't know if that's what your username, but I don't know if they'd be happy to hear you say that. That's really funny. AJ says, do what you got to do. Thank you. And I think that's the way most people really feel ultimately. It's like, whatever you got to do to make sure GameFace keeps happening, just do it, you know? Eric Cartman says, play your mixes. I can't. So I have a buddy who has a music label called Worship Recordings. You've seen me wear their shirts before. It's like a lion head with kind of a sun around it. It's a house music label. And he just sent me his whole library. He's like, here, just use this. You can use these for all your videos. I don't care, whatever. He has no control over it. He at some point signed some kind of a distribution deal with some crappy publisher that owns the rights to his music. And I tried to use his music in our videos, and I got copyright strikes. And I contacted him. He couldn't believe it. So he contacted his lawyer, and he's like, yeah, I signed that over. Remember, you got paid like $30,000 or something like that? He's like, oh, yeah. And so I couldn't even use his music.
That's not much for that.
Nope. Even it was house music. It's so obscure and niche. So even obscure house records that I bought back in like 1996, and there's probably, I'm not exaggerating, Matt, maybe like 400 copies in the world of that record, they get caught. They pop copyright strikes. It's all been uploaded now. There's anything that you had to pay for, you cannot get away with it anymore. It's just too good. The thumbprint systems and everything, it's too good. You can't dance around it anymore, unfortunately. So I cannot play my own mixes before the show starts. I can't, which sucks. Let's see what else we got here. Well, we'll get to GTA. That's going to be our first topic here. It's going to be our VideoGame.Town headline of the week. It's going to be the Grand Theft Auto 6 stuff. We'll get to it. And we'll give you guys a chance as well to share your opinions on that stuff once Matt and I finish our discussion. We always do it that way. Vincent says, Onimusha isn't getting delayed. It's getting moved forward. Okay, that's good news for me. Robanian, Onimusha already has a date. It's had a date for a long time. But all these publishers are trying to get out of the way of Grand Theft Auto. They're terrified. And now after today, like, they know it's coming. And so a lot of you are going to see even more games start moving their dates around a little bit. I hope it's some DLC preview from Stealthy. No, we're not previewing any DLC today.
He means the Capcom thing.
Oh, Capcom. Yeah, I think it will. I think they're going to show the DLC for Dragon's Dogma 2 for sure. RA9 DLC, Eric Carmenez wonders. Maybe. Because there are rumblings that there's going to be some story DLC for that.
Yeah, and it would be about time.
Mm-hmm. About time to announce, yep. What else? David Nordic, thank you for Twitch Prime. Appreciate that. Pour out some LS cream. Yep. Another podcast just pulled ahead. SIFTD Games. Oh, it did? So he's talking about the poll, I guess. It was literally, when I looked this morning, 35-35. Literally a dead heat between a video review and a podcast. I think that might be it. And if you guys can still vote if you want to. You can still go to our Patreon, patreon.com/SIFTD and vote. And it's open to everybody, too. It's not just for our patrons. So if you go there, you can vote on it, even if you're not one of our patrons. Talking about He-Man. I am the power. And I think that's it. AJ Watson, He-Man was what it needed to be. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, apparently not, because it didn't do well. It's one of the biggest bombs in recent film history. But, I mean, I don't think there was any way to look at that movie after you made it and think you did it wrong, because they didn't. It's just nobody cares about He-Man.
I mean,
and look,
the mistake was made in the research, right?
They made that movie because they had to make it, because otherwise they're going to lose the film rights back to Universal.
Oh. Because they had to do something with it.
Yeah, they had to make it or lose it. And if they wanted to make another He-Man movie, they would have had to pay Universal for the rights again. Because Universal, they made a terrible deal with Canon Films back in the 80s and basically signed the film rights to He-Man over to Canon Films.
Sounds like my buddy selling his music.
And Canon Films was acquired by Universal at some point. So now if Mattel ever wants to make a He-Man movie, they have to basically license the rights to their own IP back from Universal. And they did that. You know, they've been threatening to make a He-Man movie for a long time now. And that's because they got those rights, like they licensed those rights like a long time, like 10 years ago or something like that, 15 years ago, and it's never gotten off the ground. So it was like, we either get this one made hell or high water, or we lose the rights and have to pay for them again. So that's why a He-Man movie exists. Amazon doesn't seem particularly disappointed by it, like, I guess because they just want something people are gonna, and people are gonna stream. I mean, I don't know if there's been a movie in recent memory that's like more like, I'm just gonna watch this on streaming than He-Man. So Amazon's probably fine with that. But we'll see. I would be surprised if we ever see another one.
For sure. And it's not going to get more popular as time goes on.
Although they are re-releasing for the first time, I think, the full series, the cartoon series from 2002.
Oh wow!
Which was like a more like,
I never saw it.
Conan level sort of reboot, a little grittier, everyone's a little bigger, sort of like reboot. I don't think that's ever been released in its entirety on home video, and that's coming in November. So there is some bonus
trying to build some
He-Man
momentum.
fans. You're getting a few things, but like, I don't know, like. It's a shame because at the end they basically got the whole premise of the cartoon like in place and ready to go. It's like at Star Trek Abrams reboot, where it's like at the end you're like, oh wow, you could do anything you wanted now, and then Star Trek, it's like, oh, we're just gonna remake the best movie in the series and do it terrible, and repeat the same character arcs again for no reason. And you know how weird it is that those first two Star Trek reboots like never leave the solar system.
It's
you're not trekking anywhere. You're just like, it's like you're just driving around the block.
There's no trekking.
So like it's like He-Man's a shame because you're like, oh, you could go like 5 different places with this now. You could do anything you just do a general He-Man adventure. You could do like Hordak and the She-Ra stuff. You could do even weirder shit. I mean, there's just the sky's the limit. and you're never gonna get to do it
because nobody cares.
Nobody cares. You won't have that money again.
Yeah,
you probably wouldn't get Idris Elba back.
Yeah.
Like it's a shame.
Done. Yeah. Cinetyke, thank you for Twitch Prime, brother.
Alison Brie also as Evil Lynn knows the assignment.
Yeah,
she's very, very good.
Oh, that's great.
It's worth seeing. Like, you probably can't see it in theaters now because it's all disappearing really fast. But like, if you, like, definitely watch it on streaming when it shows up. It's a lot of fun.
I like AJ here. He says, "Happy Tuesday, Sifters." You're very well programmed. Unfortunately, it is Wednesday. Hopefully, you don't have to anywhere to be today, AJ. One Supermaster Gamer, thank you for Twitch Prime. Hail to Starscreen, thank you for Twitch Prime. It looks like a bunch of you guys are watching some World Cup soccer today. Football, sorry. I still live in America, so it's just knee-jerk reaction to call it soccer here because we have to delineate it from American football.
The original name was soccer.
Yeah. Was it really? I actually didn't know that.
Both soccer and football come from British, like England. Like soccer is an English term that they just didn't stick with.
Interesting.
Football is a more descriptive word for the sport, let's be honest.
And then it's a me Derek D, which is a great username, says any interest in the He-Man 2D game?
Yeah, looks really good. I mean, I love those side-scrolling 2D beat-em-up stuff.
Yeah. They do feel a little bit like a crapshoot, though. It feels like some of them are good, and some of them are surprisingly not good.
Some. I mean, the only one I didn't think was very good was the Power Rangers one, but they did do a bunch of updates, and it's actually better than it was at launch now. That He-Man game looks pretty good. So we'll see.
It does. Silkshank, did you ever tell us which band you were talking about earlier? Maybe just pop it in the chat right now and we have it at the bottom. I didn't see it when I was scrolling through there, but maybe you did put it in there. And let's check on YouTube really quickly. What's up, YouTube crew? Hope you guys are all doing good. Blitches, SLXM says, give Matt his own film podcast. I have talked to Matt about doing a pop culture podcast many times, but he doesn't have the bandwidth and is not interested. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it would be a lot of extra time.
Yeah.
On that.
Because see, Matt you'd have to do everything for that when you have to set up all the B-roll and get the and here he just shows up and gets to talk about games and I do all the other work.
I don't even technically show up. I'm already here.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I've pitched Matt on it before. Believe me, like a podcast hosted by you on pop culture, Matt, would probably be gigantic. Seriously. I'm not kidding. So I've pitched it to him, believe me, before. I did tag you. You could have just put the band name in there, Silk Snake. I can't scroll up, brother. I'm running a live show right now. Anyway, okay.
But you just were scrolling up.
What did you say?
You just were scrolling up. You missed it because it was scrolled up.
When I scrolled back down, I looked for it and I didn't see it.
I think it's right above there. It's under the gift subscription thing.
No. Well, then I will scroll up very quickly.
Past the Thundercats, but... I saw a Silk Snake's name next to it. Yeah, there it is. White Lies.
Oh, White Lies. Yeah, they're great. I love them. Yep. Thank you, Vincent, for doing. Now I don't know how to get rid of it. Hopefully, it'll go away on its own. White Lies are great. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a gigantic fan of them, but I definitely listen to their albums when they come out for a while until I get bored of them. But interesting. Yeah. I'll allow that. Is that wankers? They were letting wankers go.
I like wankers.
Yeah. Aravis says it was originally called Association Football. Then a bunch of tough wankers called it soccer, but normal Brits have never called it soccer. Okay, thank you. Wow, that's amazing that you play with White Lies. That's a big warm-up gig, man. I was in a bunch of bands. I never played a warm-up gig that big. Of course, I was in punk and hardcore bands, and there were no bands that big in that entire genre back then. I could have played with the Misfits, and it still wouldn't have been as big as White Lies. I did play with Dag Nasty one time. For anybody who knows punk and hardcore, that's and All. Dag Nasty and All were the two biggest bands that my band warmed up for.
I remember All.
All's from West Coast, and they were doing this big tour. And their band, who was traveling with them, warming up with them, their van broke down at their prior gig, and we got a call from the club owner, because we had been playing the club like all the time. He's like, yo, can you guys get here for a gig tomorrow night? And we were like, yeah. They're like, you're playing with All. And I was like, what? It was the biggest show we ever played. There were people stage diving off the rafters into our set, off the rafters inside the club. And then when All played, the place literally almost got torn apart. It was the best gig I ever played as someone in a band.
We had a running gag about All at the college newspaper.
Oh, really?
And I don't know. I don't remember where it came from or why. It was from Punk Rock Dave, who was like the music guy. But at some point, if anyone ever mentioned All or something like All, You had to, someone should say all, and someone had to then go all, and then Dave would go, no, all. And I don't know why that came up, but that was the all running gag.
That's funny.
It was that and Royal Trucks rhymes with sucks were the two main music band running gags we had at the paper.
Yeah. Devin says, Matt's mic is peaking. Maybe just push it away from your face a little bit. It'll help a little bit with that. Okay. Well, folks, it is time to get on with GameFace episode 485. But of course, before we do that, we've got to hear from the one and only Ellis Cream.
It's Ellis Cream, the fine cream liqueur crafted by fellow gamer and sifter Stevens Charles. Inspired by the Haitian drink Cré Masse, Ellis Cream delivers an award-winning experience with every single pour. One sip and you'll see why. It's a party favorite. The silky blend of fresh cream and premium neutral grain spirits mixes great with everything. I dare you to put a shot in your coffee. I've been drinking it for years and still, I find new combinations that taste incredible. Ellis Cream is the kind of drink that keeps surprising you thanks to its notes of vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, and coconut. Take it to any gathering and watch it steal the spotlight. We've never seen anyone resist. Ready to join the fan club? Head to creamls.com/sifted for recipes, retailers, and online orders. That's creamls.com/sifted.
That's right, people. Cré Masse that ass. Join the Cream team at creamls.com/sifted. Head on over there, get yourself a bottle, find one locally, find one online, and as soon as you get it, start messing around and making drinks with it. And you'll see very quickly that it mixes very well with pretty much everything and makes everything taste better. Once you get that bottle, start mixing it with stuff. Get some ice cream in there. Get yourself a little umbrella and put it in there. Take a picture of that drink. Upload it on Instagram. Tag the crew at Ellis Cream and win $5,000 in the Ellis Cream 5K Challenge. Again, go to creamls.com/sifted. And I'm going to say it again. There are not a ton of people entering this thing. You have a good chance of winning $5,000. $5,000. Anyone hearing this? Is this thing on? $5,000. Who cannot use $5,000 right now? Everybody could use $5,000 right now. Join the Ellis Cream 5K Challenge. Go to creamls.com/sifted. All right, it's time to get on with the show proper, and it's time for the VideoGame.Town headline of the week. VideoGame.Town is a brand new independent gaming website at VideoGame.Town. Yes, that is the URL that you type into the address in your browser, VideoGame.Town. They're scooping up all the talent from the big websites that are suffering layoffs, and sadly, it seems to be happening pretty much every other week at this point. That's someone at the websites. And I just got to say, Matt, as somebody who looks at all the content coming from every website every single day, I do think sites are using AI to write articles. They're
for sure.
The output of some of these people, and look, they may be real people that they're putting their names on some of these articles, but there is no way. As somebody who wrote news in my early days at GameSpot back in 2000, I would work my butt off and I would get 10 articles out a day. And the people, my bosses were like, dude, how are you writing 10 articles a day? Like, they're crazy. And I was like doing research, calling people, getting quotes. Some of these people on some of these sites, I'm not going to be specific about it, are writing like 30 and 40 articles a day. Writing. So anyway, what's happening is a lot of writers are getting replaced by AI. And those people who are being displaced are being picked up by VideoGame.Town, and they are doing some of their best work over there. So go to VideoGame.Town, head over there, check out their Patreon, read their work, support independent games journalism just like Sifted. VideoGame.Town is breaking away from the mainstream, trying to do its own thing. Support them. We try to support them as much as we can. You should too. Go to VideoGame.Town. And they sponsor the headline of the week, where we get to talk about the biggest news story of the week right off the top here on GameFace. And the biggest story of the week just fell into our laps this morning when Rockstar Games and Take-Two finally started announcing all the information about the different versions and the release of Grand Theft Auto 6. And the big headline here is that the base version of Grand Theft Auto 6 will cost $80. There's, what's the version called? The Ultimate version? Is that what it's called?
Maybe.
I have my notes here. The Ultimate Edition.
I don't understand how it's not the collector's edition because
there isn't one so far.
But then it's GTA VICE.
Yeah.
What people?
Well, that's
it's right there.
Let's lay this all out first. So
it's Vice.
The Ultimate Edition is $100, and the normal version is $80. So it's an extra $20 for the Ultimate Edition. And the Ultimate Edition has a bunch of extra stuff in it that the regular version's not going to have. Now, to be fair, the vast majority of it is like a few cars, like cosmetics, haircuts, clothes, stuff like that. The thing to me that stands out the most about it is that there are 2 missions that you will not be able to play if you buy the $80 version. So Pactor I predicted, by the way, $80. So I think I got it right. I predicted $80 finally in like 2 episodes ago of the Shane Satterfield show. I made my final prediction of $80. So I guess I nailed it. But Pactor's been saying $100 all along. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of right too, because in order
if you want the whole game.
So if you want the whole game, you have to pay $100 for the whole game. How do you feel about this? Like holding this content back for this more expensive version?
I mean, I don't really understand why everyone's freaking out about it, because that's what these CEs have done forever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, you get missions in the Ubisoft $100 version, the $120 version as well. Like, that's just how it works now.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's annoying that the tattoo shop is locked behind the $100 version, but like, well, you know, they're just doing what everyone else is doing.
So if you only pay $80 and you go to the tattoo shop, it's just barred closed?
Probably just not open, or you can't interact with people or whatever, I guess.
That's so crazy. This kind of
reminds...
Some
people saying it's like, no, it's just like specific designs. It really sounds from what what they wrote, or what 2K wrote, Take-Two wrote, that like they just said tattoo shops.
Yeah.
Like, didn't sound like specific tattoos.
Like it was all
like
of them.
Shops.
Like you can't get tattoos.
Yeah, like there are 2 tattoo. I think they said 2 tattoo shops. So maybe there are 2 tattoo shops that have specialty tattoos that are only available, and like there's normal tattoo shops that are like generic tattoos you can get anyway. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's just those 2 are the only ones that are locked behind that. I don't know. They weren't specific enough to. I mean, it's kind of bold to be like, hey, give us $100. We haven't even talked about the online mode yet. Like,
yeah.
We haven't even talked about the gameplay yet. Like,
this reminds me a little bit of what BMW tried to do with heated seats, where it tried to make it a subscription service for your heated seats, and people revolted.
Well, it doesn't remind me of that, because it's just the same thing video games been doing forever.
Yeah.
Like, this is just more like perks that are cosmetic nonsense that you probably don't need and will never even look at.
I mean, to be honest, like looking at the list of stuff that comes with the $100 version, I really don't care. No. Like, I don't really want that stuff.
I guarantee you those 2 missions are like meaningless nonsense that probably won't even matter.
And I never put tattoos on any of my characters in any game, so it's not like something I would miss normally.
I do sometimes. I put tattoos all over my Saints Row characters.
That makes sense.
It just seemed like they should.
That makes sense. I can see that. I generally don't, so I really don't care. The 2 missions are what kind of rub me the wrong way.
But those missions are going to be nothing.
You're right. There'll be some BS.
They're going to be some weird fetch thing.
It'll last like 60 seconds or something. But it's not what it is. As though
GTA6 is going to lack content.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
it's the premise that bothers me more than anything.
But like that's nothing new. Like, this is not. People are acting like this is some kind of new precedent that they're setting, and it's not. Like, it's just the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing Ubisoft has done forever. The $100 edition of Assassin's Creed Shadows came with like some extra mission for Naue and clothes for all of them, and like some extra like daggers or whatever. You know, it's just, they all do that now. All the AAA stuff has that.
Yeah. It seems like what people are more angry about is that the physical version of the game is not coming with a disc. It's just coming with a download code.
Yeah, well, you want to... It was going to be a key no matter what. This is a 687 gigabyte game. Like, I think a Blu-ray only holds 25.
People, obviously, they can't trade it in. They can't give it to somebody else to play.
Yeah, well, welcome to 2026, man. Like, this thing would come on 8 Blu-rays.
This is under a big
you're gonna sit there and wait
microscope, though. It's the biggest game ever, probably.
Yeah, but it's still stupid. It's like you're going to sit there and wait for fucking 700 gigabytes to install from an optical disc? Like, no, that would take all day. Like, of course it's a key. Even if it was a disc, it would just be a key. Yeah. It would just clear you for the download.
But again, you can sell that disc. You can give that disc to somebody else, and they can play it without paying for the game. That's the difference. You can give it to your little brother or your big brother or whatever, your cousin. You can share it, and other people can play without paying for it. So people are freaking out about that way more than the $100, $80 thing.
I mean, it is the most significant downside, but like, again,
most people don't care.
Welcome
I do.
to 2026.
I still buy physical games. Most people don't, but
a bunch of those still don't come with a disc, though. Like more
everyone
often
I buy does.
but more often than you'd think. Like you know, it's not on the thing.
Yeah.
It's just not there.
It's so here's two angles on why Rockstar is doing this, and I think the most obvious is what
And
I did.
remember, if it's just the key on the disc, they can disable that whenever the hell they want. So it's not like that's any kind of insurance against being able to trade the game around. You can trade it in, I guess, but it's like, I don't know, man. Like, it's GTA. Buy it or you don't. Like,
Well, here's the thing. Like, nobody cares about this unless it's with this game. Like,
Right.
I've been saying, like, I've been crying about physical games going away for, like, 10 years, and nobody else cared until this game. And now all of a sudden, they're like, wait a minute. Like, it's like you can't put it on autopilot for the last 9 years not caring about physical games. And then all of a sudden, a game comes out where you actually do care about physical games, and then get your panties in a wad. Like, you're part of the reason why there are no physical games.
And acting like it's some new precedent.
Right.
It's like, no, this has been happening off and on for a long time. Also, I mean, I guess it's possible, but it's like, if any publisher thinks that, oh, GTA did this, so now we can do it, they're stupid. Like, GTA can do things no one else can do.
A lot of things.
They could have charged $150 for this game, baseline, and still gotten away with it, probably.
Yeah.
It's like, and like that sounds like something more. When people talk about, it's like, oh, this is gonna, all the publishers are gonna. First off, most of them already are doing things like this anyway.
Yeah.
Number two, the only publisher I can think of that'd be stupid enough to really be like, oh, GTA did it, so now like the way is free and clear for us to do all this stupid shit with our dumb games is EA, and EA is not releasing anything anymore. They're cutting everything down, getting ready to sell themselves to Saudi Arabia, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Like, I mean, I'm not saying you gotta be happy about the way Rockstar is doing this.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of reasons to not be happy about it.
Yeah.
But it was inevitably going to be what was going to happen.
I mean, in hindsight, I am disappointed in myself that I did not see this coming, that they would put out just a code and not a physical version, because Rockstar, if you remember, like a month or two ago, rumblings were starting to come out of Rockstar that it wasn't going to release a physical version at all. And people freaked out about it, and then Take-Two was like, no, that's going to happen. Yeah. But then we find out that it's kind of a half step in.
Well, because the only reason they really, Take-Two is the one that wants it on the shelves. The only reason they want it on the shelves is the people that don't pay attention to jack shit are going to walk through Walmart or whatever and see that it's out.
Right.
That's the only reason to want to do that.
Yeah. Well,
and they're correct.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But they don't. But Rockstar does not want you to be able to lend this game or trade it in. They want anyone who plays GTA6 to have paid full price for entry. And this was always going to be what they did with it.
That's one part of it. The other part of it too is spoilers. And Rockstar, more than any other developer, freaks out about spoilers. When I reviewed Red Dead Redemption 2, they sent me like a 500-word email that outlined all these things that I needed to do on my PlayStation 4 to make sure people could not data mine my account and find spoilers for Red Dead Redemption 2.
Or even see that you were playing it and all that stuff.
Nobody on my... And I've left it that way. I've left my... I'm just erring on the side of caution. I'm like, if that's the way to protect it, now I know when I play review code from any other publisher, they're protected and I'm protected from leaks getting out because of my code or whatever. So I've left it that way. But Rockstar cares very, very much about spoilers. And so this was a no-brainer. Between the not being able to play a used copy and between Rockstar's obsession with spoilers getting out there, it was a no-brainer. I should have seen this coming all along, and I did not. And I'm a little disappointed in myself for not seeing this. But no one's perfect, I guess. So, to your point, Matt, it's smart. Like, I don't begrudge Rockstar for doing this. Even if half of it is motivated by money, if you're a business, it's smart to do this. I mean, you're going to make way more money because of it. And people are going to moan and complain for 2 days, and they're going to buy it.
They're buy it anyway.
Yeah.
And again, that may not be true of maybe 99% of the other games that are ever made.
This one...
But this one, it is.
Yep, absolutely.
They can do whatever the hell they want with this.
Yep.
And, like... Don't ask me to explain why GTA still has that kind of cachet all these years later, especially since they haven't made one in literally a human generation.
I think that's why.
But who fucking cares? Like, you know,
a lot of people do.
but you know what? Who just tried that same thing just now and it didn't work? Is He-Man.
Yeah.
Or Star Wars. Star Wars is losing cachet with the younger kids now. People in their 20s don't really have a whole lot of attachment to it because nothing's come out. Nothing. I know GTA 5 has been a constant presence, but I don't know how much it's appealing to the youths.
The other thing I saw today, looking around at different fan forums and things like that, is that a lot of Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto fans are now regretting supporting and playing Grand Theft Auto Online because they think that the support of GTA Online is ultimately what's causing a lot of the decisions that are being made with Grand Theft Auto 6.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so they're kind of blaming themselves a little bit. They're like, yeah, I got suckered into this. I've spent $300 in Grand Theft Auto Online, and now I regret it.
Well, and then, again, I think it's very interesting that they have said nothing about the online component of this, if there is one. Maybe GTA Online just spins off.
Well,
into
they
its own
said
thing
today that this is a quote unquote a single player game.
So maybe GTA Online just continues as it is.
It could, and they just start doing events that are centered around GTA 6 and the characters in GTA 6 and the settings and that kind of stuff.
Because the other thing is, do you want to alienate the people who still play that on PlayStation 4?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how big
that's something to consider,
but
for
it's
sure.
Probably not nothing.
Yeah.
Because at the very least, if you had a new online component to this one, you would have to find some way to let everybody carry their stuff over, because there's no way you could make everybody start over from scratch after all these years.
Yeah, people also...
I mean, you could, but it would not go over well.
Now, don't forget that GTA Online for GTA 5 launched 2 weeks after GTA 5 launched. So it wasn't there on day one, so there could be some semantics here where Take-Two and Rockstar don't want to say that it's going to have GTA Online until when it does come out a month later, weeks later, or whatever. So it could GTA Online could still be coming for GTA 6. It's not a done deal, but yeah, specifically mentioning that it's a single player game definitely sends off some alarm bells there for sure. And then Rockstar's official line on the Ultimate Edition, I'm just going to read it from the press release. The Grand Theft Auto 6 Ultimate Edition amplifies this experience with an exclusive collection of premium vehicles, weapons, apparel, and action threaded across all aspects of Jason and Lucia's story. That's a little off-putting.
No, it's not.
That is threaded all the way through everything.
That's marketing horse shit.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I think that's what's making people scared.
Well, it shouldn't be, because that's literal marketing FOMO.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. That's all that is. They want you to think exactly that, so you give them that extra $20. That's all that is. Threaded through the whole. Give me a break.
So you don't think that they've spaced out
no,
all the
of course not. It means
cosmetics?
you can put those cosmetics on at any time during the game. That's all that means.
Yeah.
If you want to put that hat on in the first mission or the 50th mission, congratulations, it's been threaded through the entire experience.
Yeah. I mean, I think
that's
what
all
they're
that
I think that's
means.
what they're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
But that's all that
up,
means.
Like in the first 10 hours, you open up one tattoo shop. 10 hours later, you open up another one.
It's not like you're going to get 40 hours into this game and your friend who bought the $100 version is going to be like, I had a completely different thematic experience from you and nothing you did mattered. It's like, no,
that's definitely not going to happen.
This is literally just marketing copy. It's nothing. They're trying to scare you into thinking that if you don't get the $100 one, you're not going to experience the full version of the story or whatever. It's bullshit.
Here's the other thing I wonder is if Rockstar is going to send out review code.
That is a very good question.
I don't think it is.
I don't see why you would.
Because if you went this far...
This thing is bulletproof in a way that you don't even need that element.
There's nothing good that can come out of this game being reviewed before it releases.
You get nothing from that.
Because people expect it to be a perfect 10.
Right.
It's not going to be.
And if it is, what did you gain? Nothing.
You get exactly
you
what
just
you
confirmed
thought.
everything. And if it isn't...
You can only lose financially.
The only reason to do it would be that you know that people are going to argue about it, and it just gets
generate more talk.
It just gets it into the algorithms.
Everyone's algos, everyone's feeds. Yeah, that could be part of it. You see people arguing, "Oh my gosh, there's a new Grand Theft Auto game."
Oh, it got a 9 from GameSpot. Oh my god,
that could be part of it.
I mean, part of it, but also Rockstar doesn't really roll that way. I mean, Rockstar is more likely, I think, to just be like, we don't need any of you fuckers. And
Rockstar does care about reviews, though. I mean, as a reviews editor, I can vouch for that many, many times over.
I mean, we remember the ping pong debacle. But
and every game we reviewed for them, like the last Max Payne game at Game Trailers, we gave it a 7-something, and I ended up on
because that's what it was.
Yeah.
That was a fine game.
I almost lost my job over that because they cut $250,000 worth of marketing from Game Trailers when I refused to change the review score. And my bosses, who normally were like, Shane, we know you know what you're doing. We just leave you. That day, he called me in his office for a discussion. And he's like, I'm just telling you, they are really going to cut $250,000. And you need to make sure you're okay with that before you make this call. And that's all I'm going to say. And I was like, I am. I'm like, if our opinion doesn't hold any water, we lose everything. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, fine. And they cut the $250,000. and yeah, so Rockstar very much cares about reviews and review scores and where they line up on Metacritic and all that kind of stuff. So I do think a little bit of that will seep into their decision on whether they send out review code to journalists. Mm-hmm. Because I think if they perceive...
I think that... Didn't Max Payne 3 go badly for Gersman, too?
I don't know.
Wasn't there something with it? Or was that...
That was Kane and Lynch.
Kane and Lynch.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. Is Max Payne 3 reminded me of Kane and Lynch so much that it was just like... It's crazy to me that they put up a fight over that because it's just like... That feels like dead on what Max Payne 3 was.
I mean, I recorded the phone call. I can't share it with anybody because it would be illegal to share the phone call with anybody. But I recorded it to cover my ass. In case, like, they tried to fire me, I could play the recording for HR and show them what I said to them. And obviously it didn't matter in the end. I didn't get fired, and they took the money away or whatever. But the bottom line is Rockstar does care about reviews, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays into its decision-making on letting early reviews get out there. Because, again, the danger is there. If you give it to one journalist, that journalist could do something crazy with it. Like, I had one of my employees put a whole Zelda game up on YouTube one time. He just lost his freaking mind and did something crazy for no... And you ask him about it, he has no idea why he did it. So... You are taking a chance that someone somewhere is like, man, this would blow up my YouTube channel. And even if I get fired working here, my $35,000 a year job.
Rockstar will assassinate your ass.
Yeah, they don't worry about getting you fired. Yeah. They what you did.
You have to leave town. You're going to live your own private GTA.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a lot that goes into this decision making, but ultimately, if you're looking at it from a business perspective, I hate to say it, but
come on, Eric Cartmenez, you know Keighley played it last summer, and it was amazing, and he can't wait to share it with us.
Right, I can't wait to share it with you. He says that all the time. Yeah, I will say this: Rockstar probably would trust Keighley because Keighley has high-profile stuff in his pocket at all times.
Keighley is part of the system,
right?
So
he's not going to leave.
He's not going to do
so
that.
you're right. They probably would give it to Keighley early, but
Keighley doesn't review anything.
No.
He's not a reviewer.
And they know he would never burn the bridge with Rockstar. Like he just never would. So again, what I'm getting at here is you're looking like a younger-ish editor who probably wouldn't be handed Grand Theft Auto 6 anyway. But there is a possibility that somebody young could get it, do something foolish, and next thing you know, everyone knows that Lucia dies in the first 5 minutes of the game or whatever. I'm not. That's not a spoiler, by the way. I just made that up, so don't think I know something or anything. But
oh no, the robbery they attempt goes horribly wrong. Who could have predicted?
I mean, it could be something like that. Like Lucia could die in the first hour or something like that. You don't know. But
I think they worked too hard on that character model.
You would think, yeah. So anyway, I think ultimately, from a business perspective, Rockstar's probably doing the right thing to maximize the profit. The other thing that's a little interesting, Matt, is that 2 retailers today said that they will not sell the game because there's no real physical version. And they were smaller ones. One was called like Video Game Explosion. The other one was called like the other one was like I think Humble Games or something, who only sells physical games or something.
Sure, okay.
But anyway, they said that they were not going to sell the game unless they put out a real physical version. But no one else, like GameStop didn't say that. Best Buy didn't say that.
Why would you? I mean, like on one hand, okay, sure, but on the other hand, it's like you're just leaving money on the table at that point.
Rockstar is using retail.
I mean, you're probably not even going to get copies from your distributor if you're that small. Like Rockstar, the smaller places have trouble getting them. Beyond, they get them later, but by that point, everybody's already bought it.
Yeah. Yep. So they can say they're not going to sell it. The big guys are going to sell it. And from Rockstar's perspective, like, I saw someone online say, well, what's the point of even putting them in retail if it's just a code inside the box? And it's because if you're Rockstar and you go into every GameStop in the United States, there's going to be a wall of Grand Theft Auto 6. It's free billboard advertising in every mall in America.
Yeah, but the malls don't matter anymore. But
some do.
Not too many, but it's more that it's in Target and Walmart
and all those places,
and all the big box stores. You can walk. I mean, not the Best Buy really sells anything anymore.
Yeah.
But like, if that's who it's for, is the people that don't pay attention and didn't even notice that there were commercials for it on the NFL games as you walk into the store to get your whatever the hell, and there it is.
Yeah.
Then I go, oh, that guy, I love GTA. I'm gonna get this.
It's
like
free
that's all it
advertising. It's a big gigantic billboard that people are gonna walk by and be like, Grand Theft Auto 6.
This thing is why it appeals to such people who've never touched some of this. I mean, this is a game that could get some rando who wandered into Walmart for a fucking case of beer to buy a PlayStation 5 on site.
And that's why the retailers are not going to push back, like the big retailers, because they want someone to walk by, see the big Grand Theft Auto logo, come in, and maybe they're not going to make, they'll make their $5 on GTA6 if they even buy it, but maybe they buy something else.
Yeah.
Maybe
they buy a PlayStation.
Right.
Maybe they buy a controller. Maybe who knows?
And Rockstar knows that. Rockstar knows we'll get them in the door, and then maybe they buy something else. Probably not. But
it's the very rare release that might have an impact on brick and mortar retail.
Sales. Yeah, it really is. And so Rockstar can just do whatever the hell it wants.
You're talking about a game that might sell to people whose last game purchase was a physical copy of GTA 5.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So anyway, there's lots of layers to this. It's not as simple as you think. Are we going to say that Patrick was right on the $100 price?
I think we can give him that.
At least give him half credit?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, it is both, really.
It really is.
Can you technically
play
the game
cheaper?
for $80?
Yeah.
Yes. But is the full game is $100?
It is.
When it comes down to it.
It is, yeah. When do you think GTA Online is going to launch, or if at all?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I don't know how to approach that.
Yeah.
It's very hard. I mean, I would think that you'd want, if there's a new online component, that you'd want it to have full continuity with the previous one, so people don't have to start. People have spent hundreds and thousands of dollars on their characters and accounts there. You don't want them to have to feel like they lost all of that.
Yeah.
And making that transition is going to be very delicate. I mean, I don't know. I don't think we're going to be able to know until they start talking about it.
I think they do a World of Warcraft where they just do a graphical overhaul of it, and all your stuff still is there.
I mean,
it looks better.
It would explain why they.
Hey, Luna.
It would explain why they, gave everyone the free upgrade on 5.
Right.
Trying to get everyone kind of ready for that.
Yeah.
That way, the only people that you might lose from that are people that literally don't own a current gen system.
Yeah.
Which is not nothing.
Yeah.
But still, the best you can do. Or maybe they just add Vice City to the existing, maybe GTA 5, the GTA Online component just kind of becomes its own separate thing, and it's sort of an ongoing platform, and they add Vice City to it, and you can play in San Andreas or Vice City, or they have things that cross over back and forth, which is sort of in line with that plan that Pachter talked about, where it was supposed to be all 3 cities in one package.
Yeah.
Maybe that's still the eventual
GTA
goal.
Online is how they do that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different ways they could go with it. My guess is it isn't just going to be, here's a new online game, we're going to shut the old one down.
No, that will not happen.
That's my 100% not going to happen.
I'd agree with that.
Is that.
Yeah. Are you confident now it's coming out on November 19th?
No.
Really? You still think after this they can still delay it?
Until I start seeing commercials for it in September or so around there. Until we get past the middle of September with no change, not quite.
I'm still I'm like 99.9. I'm pretty much
I'm more
there.
in the 50%. Range.
Wow.
Until we get to the point that the things shipping from distributors, I don't believe them fully.
Man, they would end up with so much egg on their face.
I'm sure they're planned. I mean, I don't think they're lying.
Yeah.
But I still think something could happen.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll see what this thing looks like when it comes time to really go gold and go to the factory if Rockstar decides it's ready for prime time.
Yeah.
Because Rockstar, of all people, could decide no.
At
the last minute and be like, no, we can't ship. We don't want to ship this. We're going to wait until December or February or whatever. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think if you get to like September 20th and no change, yes, 100% it's coming out when they say it's in the November.
Then you're in the quarter, basically.
Because then, basically, that thing has to have been pressed and printed and shipped.
Yeah.
And on the
Well,
water.
there's no pressing and printing, remember?
Well, you have to make the cases,
Right.
though. You have to make the physical objects, and they
discs,
they have to be shipped over the ocean.
Yeah.
To the distributors. So that's going to start to happen in mid-September.
Yeah.
So
it does seem silly that they're putting out a physical version at all.
I don't think
there's
is.
no reason for it.
Well, the reason, like we just said, the reason is
well,
to get
I understand.
random casuals in there.
Yeah.
That's a legitimate reason.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter that they're going to come home and realize they just have to put a code in.
I mean, they could have just paid GameStop to just put posters up inside the store.
GameStop is useless.
Or
GameStop,
Target or Walmart or whatever.
They could.
And then
but why
it
would
serves
they?
the same purpose.
But it doesn't do them any good. They're not going to do that without a product to sell.
Well, you would have to count on that person then going home and downloading it instead of buying it there, but there would be a way around.
But like they'd have to sell you some kind of card, or it'd have to be something. And like, at that point, why not just have a case on the shelf?
It's just
like
silly.
make it as easy as possible for the people that don't understand what's happened in the game industry in the last 13 years. Just buy the next GTA. Like it all makes perfect sense in that regard.
Yeah.
Will they be a little surprised when they open the case and there's no disc in it? Maybe.
Maybe.
But I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Yeah. And to be fair, the casuals, like, it does target them way more than like the core.
Of course it does.
So,
of course it does. I'm sure there'll be a big thing. It just says, "Hey moron, just put these numbers into your PlayStation and you can play the stupid game."
Yeah. Let's check in with chat and see what you guys are saying. I'll say this. People had a lot to say about it on SIFTD today. As soon as that story went up, there were lots of comments very quickly.
Devin Danger is correct. They should sell GTA 6 in gas stations.
They really should. I mean, seriously, it'll sell no matter where you put it, for sure. Next Level says, the price increase is so greedy and unnecessary, in my opinion. They're going to already make a ton of money off this game and microtransactions. They are. You have to remember, this game has been in development off and on for like 13 years.
Yeah. And you also got to remember, it's the same price as Nintendo's games now.
Yeah, I mean, Mario Kart World was $80.
This is the same price as Fire Emblem.
Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah.
Is it right? I'm not saying so, but
I will say.
But I will say, if you adjust for inflation, GTA San Andreas cost $121 today.
Right. I will say and I mentioned this before on the show like months and months ago, that I am very surprised how $10 like bothers people so much. Like,
well, it was the same price for so long.
Yeah.
And people forget. Like, I had a conversation with people today about, like, you know, how much it cost back in the day, and they're like, no, it was $50. The Super Nintendo games were $50. And I'm like, sir, I assure you they were not. And I dug up a bunch of, you know, price flyers from Toys R Us and all that, and it's like, yeah, here's Killer Instinct for $87.99. Yeah. Here's Kirby of all things for $65. Here's Donkey Kong Country for $79.
Yeah.
You know, like here's you know, it was like 1996 and they're selling Genesis games for $69.99.
Yeah.
Like Madden was very expensive when it came out every year.
Yep.
And you translate that to, you know, I know the inflation calculation thing doesn't compel anybody because like, you know, it costs what it costs now, it costs what it costs then. It doesn't. People don't think that way.
Yeah.
But again, it costs way more to buy a video game. And also the thing that's crazy that I didn't even think of until I started pulling these flyers up. Is like, yeah, you've got like, here's Street Fighter on Super Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo for Super Street Fighter 2 for like $69.99, and Mortal Kombat 3 is like $75 or something, and the console's $130. Right. Like, the games are more than half the cost of the console.
I mean, that's how it's supposed to end up at the end of it all.
Well, yeah, it's the Razor Blade model. It's supposed to be that, absolutely. But it's just like...
It just doesn't happen anymore.
And now I'm like, that's the difference, isn't it? That now we got to pay $1,000 for the fucking video game console, and then the games are $80 to $100 in the first place. And you're like, yeah, you're just... It's a rich person's hobby.
It has turned into it. It really has.
That's the long and the short of it, and the consequences of that will not be known for another 15 to 20 years.
Yeah, it sucks.
You want to know why kids are getting raised on tablets and mobile phones? Because, like,
they can't afford.
Who can afford
babysitters?
There's no secondhand market anymore. There's not. You know, again, you used to have that second. You know, the rich people would buy the new stuff and sell the old stuff, and the old stuff would get put into the pawn shop system or the secondhand game store, the independent game store stuff. That audience is gone because they can't. Because again, exactly what Rockstar is doing. There is not going to ever be a secondhand market for GTA 6.
Never.
Ever.
Nope. There isn't.
And the consequences of that cannot be known for another 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
You want to know how you create another He-Man situation? You don't let kids play cheap copies of those games.
I mean, to be fair, they did discount GTA 5 over time, and you know, in the end, you could get it for $10.
Right, but again, that was on a disc.
Yeah.
The fact that there will be no way to pick up a $5 copy of this in a pawn shop ever could bite them in the ass in 20 years.
Yeah,
who knows? True. It's changing the way video games are consumed by the population and which demographics consume them. If you remove, you know, the lower income bracket, which, let's be honest, is what creates most of the culture in a society. Yeah. I think you change what video games are culturally to the point that you will not be... I think you may have seen the peak of it already.
I mean, I would say we have.
Because, like, how can you sell hundreds of millions of copies of something if no one can afford the thing to play it on?
I mean, look at the PS5. It's at 90-some million units. The PS4 sold like 150 million. It's never going to hit that.
Yeah, but then you're also never... those things are never going to go into the secondhand market for cheap, and they're not going to get picked up like... You can get a PlayStation 2 from a pawn shop for like $30.
Or a swap meet or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that just doesn't really happen anymore. And if it did, if you find a PlayStation 2 in a basket at a flea market or something, you'd be like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. $20, whatever. Yeah. If you found a PlayStation 5 upside down in a box at like a rainy flea market, would you think that would work? It would still work? No, because they're big, delicate, dumbass machines with all these moving parts. Back then, it was just like, here's an N64. I want to I'll just throw it across the room at you. Bring it back whenever you want. It's like it was a different kind of thing.
Yep. Emperor Dread says gaming industry is 100% peaked. Whole industry dying on its feet the last 4 years. I mean, we can see it with the PS5 sales and the fact that PlayStation gave up and was like, you know what, we're going to jack up the price. We know no one's going to buy it. We don't care.
Yeah.
We have enough to make money off of our install base right now.
And see also the next topic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the Steam machine next after this, people.
It's called the Steam machine because it's just vapor.
You're
never going to actually see one.
Again, people, if you want us to look at or read your comment, go at SIFTD Games. Zet Saber, Silly Matt, in 10 to 15 years, we'll all be a part of the neural network hive mind and play GTA with our brains. I mean, we might.
But in that situation, Rockstar would go back to selling discs.
It would.
Rockstar is just like that kind of recalcitrant. It's like, oh, we're all doing, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have to buy a CD player to play this game.
Erebus Jones says, I think no physical will hurt the overall sales because there will be no double dipping anymore. Nobody is buying it full price, trading it in, then picking it up cheap in a supermarket a couple years later.
True, but I think they will have thought of that. Like, they recognize that you probably don't have the tail on this one that GTA 5 did. I mean, they sold GTA 5 to, like, probably 3 times to most people.
Well, Cinetite says, I lost count of how many different ways I got a free copy of GTA 5.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
It was like in PlayStation Plus, and then it was on Game Pass.
There has to be, either GTA 5 or Skyrim have to be the most rebought games of all, other than, maybe the original Super Mario Brothers or something.
Yeah.
But, in terms of, 21st century releases, I bet one of those 2 games is the most rebought game.
I'd agree. Yeah. Big Smoke 82 says, I have 2 work colleagues who are waiting on GTA 6 to buy a PS5. Now that it's 18 months of the original release window, one of them was completely shocked at the price of a PS5 now.
Yeah.
And is reconsidering. Yeah.
I think there's going to be some sticker shock to that stuff.
Yeah. Sure. People go to buy GTA and they're like, well, I have to spend $650 for the cheapest console to play that?
And as we get closer, we're going to start to realize, oh, you're going to want that Pro to make this thing run.
Well, they already put out best on PS5 Pro today, and that's all that is.
And we don't know how significant that's going to be, but it's probably going to be
noticeable.
Something.
Yeah, I think so.
At the very least, you're probably looking at good resolution plus good frame rate. It's either one or the other on the baseline, and you get both on the Pro.
Salsha does remind us that those were cartridge games, and so these were discs and cartridges.
Sure. But as the cost of the medium that you put the game on to sell to the public has dropped, the cost of producing the game has skyrocketed. So the costs are still there.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you can say it
went from costing $5 million to make it to $250 million.
So whatever you've saved on the medium or not having any physical object, you're more than beyond that with what it costs to make a high level game now. That is not any kind of trade off that's happened.
Yeah. Nox890 says nobody wants to say it because stuff is so expensive right now, but game prices haven't nearly caught up with inflation.
100%.
Yeah.
Games should cost about $150 now. Yeah. Honestly, if you want to compare them to what we were paying for them in the cartridge and even some of the early disc eras, and PC games cost a fair amount at the time too. These things are half what they should cost. Yeah. Honestly. And they know it's just because you couldn't charge it. People would balk at a triple-digit price for these things unless they, you call it collector's edition, call it ultimate edition. You act like it's giving you something special, and you kind of justify that. But it's that doesn't work forever. Obviously, Rockstar can do that once every 13 years or whatever, and it's not going to hurt them. But try to do it every single time, and you end up like Ubisoft. Yeah.
Silksnake says, I can't buy it. There's just something in me that can't get over the hump to drop that kind of money for a digital purchase. A lot of people are going to have to reckon with that, here over the next few months. Next level says Shane, it's because games were $70 just a couple years ago. The constant price increases in this one console gen is crazy. I get that. You're right. Everything else has become expensive. But $10 extra for a game...
And it's not all the games,
right.
really.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't know what's causing Nintendo to choose which games are $80 right now, because it feels crazy to me to make Fire Emblem $80.
ETH Demon says Fire Emblem is $70. It's not ETH Demon. It is $80. Nintendo already announced it's going to be $80.
Or is it the physical version's 80 and the digital one's 70?
Yeah. That's why all Nintendo's games are going. The big ones, anyway.
Obviously not true of
70.
GTA. GTA's $80 no matter what. Which
digital's always
form you
$10
buy.
cheaper. So if it's a $60 game, digital's 50, 70, 60.
But that's only Nintendo for now.
Yeah. Yep. ETH Demon, 600 gigs will take a long time to download if you don't have a good internet connection. That is true.
Yep. I mean, that's not even the biggest. I mean, that's still smaller than COD if you install everything.
Here's really Quickster here kind of breaks it all down. It says, with all the existential threats facing the majority of the population, I have no energy to care that GTA is $100 or doesn't come on a disc. The planet is on fire. Give me all the gangster escapism $100 can buy.
Yeah, I mean that is probably
that's a valid perspective.
That should probably be on the fucking box.
It probably life sucks. Check out with GTA 6. Yep. The next level says the price increase is so greedy and unnecessary.
No, it's not. It's what they should cost at the very least. It's just not a good time to do it because nobody has any fucking money.
Yep.
The fact that games remained $60 for as long as they did was probably an industry-wide error.
Yeah. Vincent says that they're actually deleting some of their videos where they say it's best on PS5 Pro from social media.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I wonder where that came from.
I mean, we're not going to know the details on that until probably after launch.
Yeah.
In terms of exactly what Pro does and doesn't do.
I'm sure Microsoft made a call and was like, yo, bro, like, wait, did they pay you to say that?
Yeah,
or
did you get money for that? Or are you just like doing that for free?
Yeah.
And then Rockstar's like, we don't do anything for free. No. Like, someone's on the phone with Sony right now. You want us to put that back? You got to give us $1 million right now.
And that may be going on right now. Yeah.
I would not be surprised at all. Like,
thank you, Tiny2K, for subscribing, brother. Appreciate you.
A rare error. I was like, we didn't charge them for that. Whoa, my God. Oh, what are we doing?
Let's see if there's any more comments here. Again, don't forget, always go ask SIFTD Games. Is it good for the industry that any publishers, from AJ the Legend Watson, is it good for the industry that any publisher has enough clout to dictate industry direction? No.
I mean, but once again, this isn't dictating industry direction.
Well, it will, see what you said earlier, it will make other publishers try it and fail.
I mean, any publisher who isn't an idiot won't try it because they aren't GTA.
They have a lot of hubris.
They do, but there aren't that many of them left to do that. You know, who's going to do that? Who are you talking about specifically? Because Ubisoft's not going to try it. EA's not even here.
Yeah.
Who's left? Like, who else? Capcom's not going to do that.
Yeah.
Square's not going to do that. Who else is going to do it? PlayStation? They're already kind of charging out the ass. Nintendo's charging $80 for physical copies.
Yeah.
Like, who are we worried about here?
No, that's
who are we talking
point.
about?
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I don't understand. Like, who are you talking about when you say they're going to try? Valve? Like, is Half-Life 3 going to be $100?
That might be the one game that is.
That's probably the only other one that could do it. Like, you know.
Khalid Talai says it's 11 p.m. in Paris and it's 90 degrees. I saw like 40 people drowned in the river there yesterday trying to cool off from the heat, man. Stay cool. I don't even know what to tell you, brother.
Europe not built for that. Europe was built around the little ice age. It's not supposed to be that hot over there.
Yep. Yeah, and their infrastructure isn't set up
England's having that. I mean, it was like 110 degrees. Like, you can't do that. All the buildings are brick. Like, you can't live in that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They're going to just turn on the AC. There is no AC in England. Like, they never needed that.
Yep. Erebus says they are apparently just updating the artwork to change the PS5 to a digital-only version, but the play's best articles are still there. Okay. Khalid Twilight says, too many people partying on the Sen. They banned the sale of alcohol this week. Wow. That sucks.
I mean, that is a lethal combination.
Drinking and
heat and swimming and boats and it's actually pretty on target for GTA 6.
It is actually, yeah.
That is a large chunk of Floridian culture.
Yep, it really is.
Like if there were crocodiles and alligators in the Seine, you'd have a scene right there.
Perfect. All right. Well, there you go. That is the latest on Grand Theft Auto 6. A big thanks to VideoGame.Town for sponsoring our headline of the week. Another banger for this episode. There have been great headlines for our headline of the week so far, and that was another one. And thanks to everybody in our chat. Once again, you guys had a great context to the discussion. We appreciate you guys very much. All right. We are about to talk about the frickin' Steam Machine. But before we do that, here's a word from our sponsor, the Repair app.
Cracked phone screen, stuck zipper, busted bike, borked HDMI port, persnickety PlayStation? Don't toss it, boss it with the Repair app. The mission is to build a world where repair is the norm, not the exception. Snap a pic, describe the issue, and find local pros ready to fix it fast. It's not a marketplace, it's a movement that saves your stuff, your sanity, and the planet. No fees, no credit cards, no data collection, no stress. Just fast and fabulous fixes. Track your items and the repairs, log warranties, build a repair history, and become the hero your stuff deserves. Fight landfill guilt, save some cash, and support local business all at the same time. And best of all, it's free. Join the Repair app waiting list today at therepair.app and be among the first to get access. Fix it, keep it, repeat. Because trash is so last century.
That's right, people. Right now, while you're listening to this on your favorite podcast service, or you're watching it on YouTube, or you're listening to it on YouTube Podcasts, which is kind of crazy, go right now to the App Store, go to the Google Play Store, and search for the Repair app. Download the app, put in your zip code, put in what you got problems with, what you need fixed, and they will find local repair people for you in your area. There are over 5,000 repair spots in the app already and growing every single day. Right now, the app is mostly centered in the US and in Paris, France. And if you're sweating it right now in Paris, France, because you have an awesome pair of jeans that you've loved your entire life and the button fell off of them, download the Repair app. Maybe you have a PlayStation with a persnickety HDMI port and you need that fixed instead of buying a new PlayStation, instead of throwing it in the landfill. That's the big thing here, people. I don't know if you guys have you seen this, Matt, how we like send all like these like mountains of jeans to Africa, and there's just literally like this village and then a mountain of blue jeans next to the village. Let's stop that. Let's stop throwing all this stuff away. Let's get it fixed. Let's get it repaired. Laws are changing right now. Like the new Nintendo Switch 2 in Europe, they are now going to change do you see this? They're going to change the design of the Switch 2 so you can fix it yourself. And that's a big thrust of what the Repair app is doing.
Can we do that to the dual senses?
They should. I think they should, but I don't think they have yet.
Like, there got to be some way to recalibrate those sticks one day.
You would think.
I know somebody found like a way to do it, but it's like there should be an official way to just recalibrate the sticks.
Yep, I agree. Everything's headed that way, people. The Repair app is way ahead of the curve. It sees it all coming, and it is there. So go download it right now in the App Store, in the Google Play Store. Search for the Repair app. Go check it out and start fixing your stuff instead of throwing it away.
You also got to have that conversation with sports teams that lost championship games.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
You go to Africa and it's like there's an alternate universe of Super Bowl winners.
No, there is. Yeah, like, that's where they send it because they make the shirts and everything no matter what.
Yeah.
And if you lose, we're like, well, we can't sell these.
Yeah, we can't do this.
So you go to a village in Africa and everybody has like the Steelers won Super Bowl 48. It's like, no, they didn't. They lost. But yeah.
You're starting to doubt your own memory.
Yeah. There's so many shirts. It has to be true.
Must have happened.
It's a whole village saying it happened.
Anything can happen in the air. I mean, I saw the Twilight Zone. We landed in another world.
Yep. Anyway, download the Repair app. Bottom line. All right, next up, we're going to talk about the Steam Machine. Matt, I honestly cannot believe that this is even coming out. Like,
I mean, I called this one. Like, this is going to be over $1,000, no question.
So, we got the pricing for the Steam Machine. I'm going to put up the graphic here very quickly to show you guys what the pricing for it is. The base version, with only 500 gigs of storage space, is
just awful.
$1,050.
And it doesn't even get up to, like, PlayStation 5.
No.
Like,
and
quality.
So, Digital Foundry has been doing testing on this thing all week. And it literally is weaker than the base PS5.
Now, it does look like that before all the RAM and tariff costs factored in, they wanted to sell this for $750.
Yeah.
But that's still a crazy price.
It's still
for what
$100
this
more
is.
than a base PS5,
Yeah.
which is more powerful.
Which is better.
It's just better.
I mean, obviously, it's more freedom, and there's like
Yeah.
other things you can do
Yeah.
with it, and yada yada yada. But
But
like,
here's the let's go.
you
through
could build a better PC for that amount of money.
Yeah. Let's finish going through the pricing for people who are just listening to the show. So base Steam machine, $1050. If you get it with the controller, because the new Steam controller is not packed in with any of these for free. So if you get the base version with the controller, it's $1128. Basically, they're charging you roughly $80 for the new Steam controller to add to these bundles. The higher end Steam machine that has 2 terabytes. Why wouldn't the cheap one have 1 terabyte and the expensive one have 2? Like, I don't know why it's only 500 gigs, but anyway.
Because that's just how, like, memory costs.
Yeah, it is memory costs.
I had to buy another external hard drive this week, and it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It cost me, for 2 terabytes, it cost me probably what I would have paid for 5.
I know, it's nuts, man. It really is. Like, I have an external that's going bad right now, and I don't want to replace it because I'm like, it's so expensive to replace it. So the higher end model of the Steam machine, the 2 terabyte version, is $1350. And then, of course, if you get it with the Steam controller, it's an extra $80 for $1428. Now, as we said, Digital Foundry did testing on this thing, and it's like pretty significantly weaker than the PS5 base PS5. Like, it generally in games, like, they try to run it and like it would be like 48, 50 frames per second on Steam machine and like 60 on the base PS5. So you're asking an extra 40% above the price of the base PS5 for less performance. Now, you mentioned earlier that it is a PC and you can do other stuff with it. There's a catch to that too, though. And that's that it is SteamOS. It's a Linux machine. And so it's, for the layman out there, it's not a Windows machine. You can't just install like Microsoft Word and all these programs on it and use it as a normal PC. Everything has to be compatible with Linux. And sure, can you surf the internet on it and do simple stuff? Yeah. Can you use social media on it? Yeah. Can you do anything else? You maybe, but you're gonna have to like download like these goofy like workarounds and hacks to make it work. What I'm getting at is it's not just a PC that you can play games on and do all this other stuff. You can't.
I mean, it's certainly more limited than a regular PC, but it is less limited than a console.
Yeah. So it's kind of a middle ground between the two, so to speak.
Like, I don't know who would think that was worth a $400 price bump, but it's still the truth of the matter.
It is. But here's the thing, like if you watch like this the only trailer they put out for this thing, which Valve is so weird with marketing. But anyway, if you watch this, like they do push the idea that it's like a PC pretty hard. Like there's a good 10 or 15 seconds in this that show people just using it like a desktop PC. So it's not like Valve is looking at it as like, here's this cool thing it does that only the elites are going to know about. Like they're pushing it to be like a PC that you can also use in addition to playing games. So who is going to buy this, Matt? And I will say, I think it'll sell out on day one. Like you right now, in order to get one, you have to go and like announce your intent at like Valve and like basically like procure one and put your money down early. So there's like a whole like lottery system that's going on with it at first. So I do think it'll sell out. I think there's enough big Valve fans out there that are just going to buy it because it's Valve. They may only make 1 million of them at launch, and I think they'll sell 1 million of them at launch. After that, all bets are off. And I don't know if they'll sell another 100,000 after that, after the initial rush. After they satisfy the hardcore Valve fans who are going to buy anything that Valve ever makes, I don't know if they're going to sell hardly any more after that. Valve is also...
It depends how many they're going to make in the first place.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, that Xbox Rogue sold out, too, in the initial run. So,
which is why I'm saying this is going to sell out at first. For sure.
Like, I don't know. Like, who has that kind of money for something that's so extraneous?
There's a lot of rich people, Matt. There really are. Like, there just are.
But if you're buying shit like this, you're not going to stay rich that long.
That's true. But, you know, boys with their toys. You know, there's a lot of people out there with a lot of disposable
But anyone
income.
who can afford something like this already has something better than
like
this.
a beastly gaming
That's what
PC.
I don't understand. Is who is this for?
Valve fans.
Right, but
At this price, only
who's a
Valve
Valve?
fans.
What does that mean? Like
There are Valve fanboys
of what?
of just the company. The way they do things. They run Steam. They made Half-Life. They run Counter-Strike.
Man, I did cool shit in 2004 too. I don't get any credit for that anymore. It was 22 years ago.
I still give you credit for it, Matt. I hear you though. Like, I honestly don't know anybody that would buy this. Like, in chat, is there anybody in chat on either Twitch or YouTube who plans on buying this, or has already placed a
I
pre-order?
wouldn't even want them to send me one of these.
I know.
Like, I wouldn't know what to do with it.
I know. My other question too is like, what makes this Steam machine work when these other Steam machines that you're seeing B-roll
what's the difference? Like, why is that
fail on its face?
Is it because it's compatible with the deck? Because you can swap your card back and forth
guess.
on it? Or like
I don't know.
Because it's part of like some kind of... Is that the thing? Is like they see... Like a fan of this thing sees it as part of the ecosystem that the deck is part of? Or
why? Yeah, I don't get why these didn't sell, but this one's gonna? I mean, these actually look more like consoles.
The only variable shift is the deck.
Mm-hmm.
The Steam Deck.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
it. The only real difference between then and now. And so it has to have something to do with that.
Impactor thinks they've only sold about 2 million of those, so there's not a huge install base for those either, honestly.
No.
It may be 1-to-1 with the people who buy the Steam machine when it's all said and done.
I feel like the deck has to have a larger use case audience than this.
Well, there's others, so it's like, that's the thing. It's like, you know, a bunch of other electronics companies also make their version of the Steam Deck. So, and they plug in the same way, and they work with Steam the same way. So, even though Steam and Valve has only sold 2 million, there's probably 5 or 6 million total out there between all the various companies that make them, Rogue, Xbox Ally, all those. I mean, there's like 6 or 7 basically PC handhelds out there. And I think between all of those, you're probably at 5 or 6 million maybe. But Pachter says all information he's been given is that Valve has sold about 2 million Steam Decks. So he knows better than I do. That's all I'm going to say about it. But that's what he told me. So I don't know why this new one's going to work when it's priced outrageously versus these other ones that actually look like gaming consoles and were more reasonably priced when they came out. Now it's been, 10 years since these original Steam machines came out?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's been a while. So I don't know. I don't know who this is for. And I don't know why Valve released it still. Like, I saw some quote from Valve where they said they went to the memory companies and said, hey, this is what we need and this is our order. And when they came back with the price, Valve was like, that's too much. And they said, then too bad. We're trying to do you a favor. And either you take this price or you don't get it at all.
Because otherwise, like, we'll make more money just making this stuff for AI companies.
Yeah, if we'll just make more blades for data centers. Like, why would we waste our time working on stuff for you?
It's not worth their time.
It's not.
To make it for any less.
And I think that's what happened. I think Valve was like, okay, so either we have to charge $10.50 for this thing or we don't put it out at all. And it decided to put it out. And I think that was a mistake.
I mean, I guess at some point you have these things exist and you got to do something with them.
You've done the R&D, you have all this sunk cost already in it, and in the end you just got screwed.
Valve can afford to shoot their shot.
Yeah, I'm not crying for Valve. Don't get me wrong. Like, they have more money than God, but it shows you the level that we're at with this AI stuff, Matt. When Valve doesn't have enough money to grease the palms.
No, well, why would you? Because you're talking. I mean, yes, like Nvidia used to, 95% of their revenue comes from AI now, and only like 4 to 5% comes from gaming stuff. That used to be more like 75%.
Oh, I know.
Gaming.
I know. And they don't care either.
And the day will probably come when it is again.
Oh yeah, it'll go back.
But like for now, it makes no financial sense to do anything or make any decisions based on the gaming space because it's such an infinitesimally small part of where the revenue comes from.
Until these gobs of money stop
pouring
into AI.
2 bad quarters in a row, and that's going to be the end of that.
It could happen very quick.
It could.
It really could.
So.
And I'm holding out hope that is the case.
But until then, like whoever shut Valve's request down, they were right.
Yeah.
They're in the economic ecosystem they're in, even if it's a bubble or whatever you want to call it. It's still the reality of the current time. It's just a very bad time to try to make a new game.
Yeah.
PC
for everybody.
You weren't going to get a deal on that.
I saw some report from analysts this week where they were like, analysts predict that the PlayStation 6 isn't coming out until 2028. And I was like, yeah. Like, you don't need an analyst to tell you that. Like, you'll be lucky if it's here by 2030.
Well, then, of course, the articles on that where it's like, PlayStation 6 coming in 2028. It's just like, no, PlayStation 6 coming in 2031.
Maybe.
Probably. Like, maybe.
I don't know where these people are getting
And I'm like, where was it? Because I clicked on that. They got me. I'm like,
yeah.
I clicked. I'm like, what the? I'm like, oh, it's like they predict probably not. Okay, that's not with the same thing.
It's funny. Yeah. And so the other thing maybe you guys are asking is like, okay, well, Shane, it's a PC, like, and it's underpowered. It's not as powerful as a base PS5, but you can upgrade it, right? Actually, you can't. Well, you kind of can. You can upgrade the RAM.
Yeah.
And with DDR5...
I upgraded your RAM. You remember that meme?
Yeah.
The kid with the barbecue sauce?
Yeah. Yep, so it comes with 16 gigs of DDR5. You can upgrade it with 2 sticks of whatever you want. So you can get up to 32 or whatever. But here's the thing. You cannot update the GPU or the CPU. They are both soldered onto the motherboard.
Like, you ain't going to play Witcher 4 on this thing.
No.
Not to any useful degree, anyway.
Even Cyberpunk 2077 was looking rough.
Yeah. I mean, it was running worse than it was like, what, 26, 27 frames a second? It's just like,
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know who this is for, but I'm just saying, if you're watching this show or listening to this show out in the wilds of the world or whatever, like, don't buy it.
Yeah, I can't even imagine why you would want it.
Just build yourself. If you really want a gaming PC, you could probably build a better gaming PC for like $1,100 bucks.
Just fucking lock it all. Just hunker down and wait.
Yeah.
Until this summer.
Because everything could pass like very quickly. Like, there's elections in November. The tariffs should be going away. There's the AI feels like it's on the precipice of.
And
the
before
popping.
you get all like, no, the future, and you remember how high the fucking SpaceX stock was?
Yeah.
Look where it is now.
Yeah.
Is anyone fucking home?
They'll just keep doing it. I mean, a lot of people got really rich on SpaceX.
Right, but they're not the ones left holding the bag, are they?
Us.
That was the whole point.
Yeah. It was another pump and dump. Yeah. It happens every day. Every Monday. It happens because Trump says that the war's over.
And I'm torn on it because you get all these people, like, there are people like on there like screaming about how they've lost their life savings because SpaceX dropped so much after they'd been all weird about it. It's like, oh, you can make so much in one day. Who would want to work for a year?
I'm
like,
betting on the future.
And I'm like, man, on one hand, like, I feel terrible for you that you've like done this to your, but also you have done this to yourself.
It's not like there were people out there telling you not to do it.
I mean, not that those people were ever in any position to hear those people.
Yeah.
Both literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Noxatornitis says, discussing performance is missing the point for the Steam machine. There are many thousands of games that don't require it, but at this price, no way.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the point, isn't it? Like, if you're going to pay that price, you're going to want performance that justifies that price, and it doesn't have it. I don't see what the difference between those things is.
Here's what I would do. I would build my own PC and get a really good motherboard. And then,
like a future-proof motherboard, yeah.
And just get
something
whatever
GPU
a lot of stuff and
into.
CPU that you can
and look,
afford.
That it's entirely possible that whatever GPUs we're going to want to run The Witcher 4 or whatever you're looking forward to in 2031, as like, you know, Cyberpunk 2, whatever's in your mind when you think of like something you want to play in 5 years. The motherboards today may literally just simply not be compatible with ever the new thing that and probably won't, because that's how you get you to buy new motherboards, right? Like, that's the whole point.
It usually takes like 15 years.
Planned obsolescence. My motherboards have gone obsolete much faster.
I'm talking about like SATA hard drives and SATA cables.
Oh, sure, but I'm talking about
those lasted like 15.
But you're talking about like size. You're talking about width.
Yeah.
What fits in what. You're talking about what it can read. How much voltage something can handle. You're talking about. I mean, hey, I had to upgrade my last motherboard because it couldn't handle the data speeds that like the
drive,
the Ethernet. No, the Ethernet in the house.
Interesting.
Like the internet speed in this house runs at like some crazy level, and I was only getting 100 megabits per second on my PC, and I'm like, why? And eventually we figured out it was just the motherboard can't do any higher than that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's, you never know where you're getting throttled and being forced to buy the next highest iteration, because that's how they get you.
Yep. Binge Watcher 5138, thank you for becoming a member to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much, man. We really appreciate that. He or she also sent 5 SIFTD Games gift memberships. Binge Watcher 5138, that is awesome, man. Thank you. Look, you can see all the people that just got free memberships. Thank you, Binge Watcher. Wow, that's awesome, man. That's so generous of you. Thank you. That's incredible. Cinetike says it was never poised to be a revolution in gaming. People have been blowing it up too much since forever. Khalid Twilight says Elon's no longer a trillionaire as of 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's not going great. He's going to be fine, though.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay.
Be all right.
Yep, it's hard to believe how much money he has, and there's no Elon, like, cancer research centers,
Well,
homeless
remember that
shelters.
most of that money is theoretical.
Right, it's all in stocks.
Paper. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
He could
something
sell
you-
his stock and have money to play
He
with.
could,
Yeah.
or he could.
He is not
but you
interested.
wouldn't do that. You would leverage it for a loan. You
Right, and get
get
a loan from the
loans forever
bank.
that you never pay back because that's how rich people work.
That is really how it works. Yep. So anyway, there you go. That's the latest on Steam Machine 2026. It's really hard for us to recommend that any of you guys or girls go and pick it up. I mean, you could buy one to play indie games, but why wouldn't you just buy a PS5? Like, I
don't know. I mean, Silkshanake makes an interesting point where he says, I just wanted to play older games without having to keep my 360 and PS3 set up, which is, like, if the Steam Machine was lower powered and also lower priced, that's not a bad use case for that.
Yeah.
But he's right. Like, why would you pay that kind of money for something, for like a kind of a mid-range retro machine?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't make any sense.
The funny part is, he could probably, if he looks around, go and find those old Steam machines that we just ran B-roll for, and they're probably like $100 now, and it would probably play all those old games for PS3 and Xbox 360.
Unless these Valve fans you talk about are like paying premium prices for
the
them.
old Steam machines. That would be funny. So anyway, another thing too is that like a lot of like apparently the Epic Game Store doesn't work on Linux, so it's like even if you did find workarounds for using it as a PC, still some stuff isn't going to work. So it's very hard for me to think of a person that I would recommend buying the Steam Machine to. Like, I can't think of one. Honestly, I can't think of any situation where it's a good idea. Not one. So there you go. That's the Steam Machine 2026. Next up, we're going to talk about... Now, I complained on the Shane Satterfield show a couple weeks ago about how E3 is set up now so publishers can just like hold their stuff and not show and have people sign embargoes. Well, they did that with Star Wars Galactic Racer. They had everybody come to not E3/Summer Game Fest and check the game out, and then put an embargo on them and said that they couldn't actually talk about it until, was it yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday was when all this stuff came out.
Yesterday, a deluge of coverage came out, and then also they released a bunch of B-roll for people to use in their coverage of the game. And basically, we know everything about this racing game now, and it sounds freaking awesome. Matt, are you hyped for this game now?
Yeah, it looks really good. I mean, I wanted a new Burnout for a long time, and if you just want to make it a Star Wars game, I guess that's fine by me.
Yeah, I mean, it is very much like Burnout. Like, it has
some of
takedowns.
Some of the same people.
Yeah, there are people from Criterion who are working on this game, and the pedigree definitely comes through. Right here is the first sign how it does like the dramatic
the
camera
takedowns
angles of
are
the
very
takedowns.
noticeable.
It's even like from the same exact camera angle that they did in Burnout. So
good.
You can definitely see
you
it
did
coming
it right.
through. Yeah,
20 years ago. I don't know why they stopped.
Yeah. Well, the big surprise that was revealed yesterday about this game is that it's a roguelite. Mm-hmm. Now, there is an arcade mode, so you can play it sort of traditionally if you want to and just play through all the races if you want. But the main single-player campaign in this is a roguelite. And how did that hit you? This is the first racing roguelite that I'm...
I mean, I think it's a good idea because it gives you sort of a little more replay value, a little more ongoing stuff with it. Like, it lets you... Like, it doesn't feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again if you want to replay it. Like,
it's designed a little bit like Star Fox 64, honestly.
Yeah.
Where if you play well, you unlock new branches, and you can sort of every playthrough can be a little bit different if you're good at it. But yeah, this is one of those games where you try to make it through like the whole thing in one sitting. So there's a story in the campaign. There's this hotshot driver that's winning the circuit, and you got to take him down. That's pretty much the whole setup for the game. And through the roguelite process, you need to make it to the final race against him and try to take him down. And there are other roguelite elements in this. Like, for example, as you earn like unlocks and buffs for your car, those will, in a lot of cases, will stay unlocked for your future runs. So it will help you. It'll give you better boost, better recovery from your boost, better turning, all that kind of stuff. And so there are other elements of roguelite other than the fact that they're trying to get you to play through the whole thing basically in one sitting. You play as a character named Shade. Have you ever heard of this guy before in Star Wars lore, Matt?
Shade?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of him either. He's a racer in the Galactic League in the post-Empire New Republic era. The Star Driver I was talking about is some guy named Kestar Bull. Are you familiar with him, Matt?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't familiar with either of them, but I thought you might
I mean,
be.
again, this is like an underworld side area of Star Wars, and I don't particularly care about that. There might be like side books or comics or something where they talk about this, but I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know the names of all the Episode 1 racers. So.
Okay. So this is the hub area that you come back to between races, and you walk around and talk to people. They give you context for the plot. They say, oh, you need to beat Kestar, blah, blah, blah. But this is also where you go to, like, upgrade your ships. And there's tons of cosmetics and paint and stickers and all this kind of stuff that you can apply to your ships. Yeah, so in order to take him down, you have to win a series of races across 4 different planets. I was actually a little disappointed to find out that there's only 4 environments in this game. Mm-hmm. So there's, like, multiple tracks, but 4 main environments that those tracks are set on.
You can always add more later.
Yeah. You choose your next race from a branching tree of options with various race types. There's a normal race where you just need to finish first. There are narrative events that are a part of that tree. There are time attack events. There are reverse courses. They do a pretty good job of mixing all that stuff up, basically. And then really the only way your run ever ends is if you blow up a certain number of times. So you don't have to finish first in every race or even like top 3 every race. A lot of it is just not being... So there's a lot of knockout races in this where the racer that finishes last gets knocked out. Mm-hmm. So in a lot of cases in this game, as long as you're finishing in the middle or middle towards the front, you're probably going to be able to continue and keep playing sort of through the roguelite design. So it's not like you have to be perfect, or if you crash once, it's all over. Although, in the knockout races, it is kind of that way. Because if you crash, like on the final lap or whatever, and get knocked out, like that could be it. That could end your entire run because you would finish last in that race and get knocked out automatically. So that's sort of a danger. But otherwise, as long as you're finishing in the middle or a little bit ahead of the middle of the pack, you can pretty much keep going on through your run. Now, as you place higher, there is a reward for that. You get bigger rewards. But like I said, you can also go pretty far as long as you're just staying alive and not blowing up your machine every race. So one thing I saw from journalists who actually played it was that they found themselves kind of playing conservatively, at least like the first like 2/3 of the race. And then the last third was when they would kind of try to push it and move up to kind of bump up their placing a little bit. So as you complete events, you get currency, and you get vehicle upgrades, and permanent skill points that can be placed into your stats like resilience, cornering, your afterburner ability, your boost ability. And before each race, you choose your racer style, and favors. And favors are like these buffs that you select. I think there's like 4 total by the time the game is done. It looked like in the menus that I saw. You can see at the bottom there, like those are the favors at the bottom that you can select for your race. So you basically can select a collection of buffs before each race, and obviously, you know, what you select depends on how you like to race and what kind of vehicles you're using. I was also kind of surprised at the lack of vehicles in this map, but it's Star Wars, so what can you do? There's speeder bikes, there's skim speeders, there's land speeders, and there's pod racers. Mm-hmm. Each vehicle is rated in 7 different categories. So there's a lot for you to boost and improve throughout your race. And again, as I mentioned earlier, like a lot of roguelites, as you improve your ship and kind of make it yours with cosmetics and things like that, a lot of those upgrades continue on forward when you keep going through different runs. So you do build up your ships over time. The other thing that I noticed is that, like, the way they set up some things, you can kind of almost jimmy the point system a little bit to keep upgrading your ship, which again, I'm not going to complain about because roguelites in a lot of cases can be pretty brutal to the player. So if they want to give me a little something to make it a little bit easier, I'm all about it. The tracks themselves, as I said, there's only 4 different environments. So there's Jakku, which is like a scrapyard environment. There's Ando Prime, which is like jungles. There's Lantana. Am I saying that right? Lantana?
I don't know that planet.
It's like a lava planet. So those are like the 4 areas that you race through, and then the tracks are,
Well, you named 3, so I assume the other one is Tatooine.
Right. Yep. Tatooine. You're right. Tatooine for the pod racing stuff. So yeah, those are the 4 environments that you can play through. As far as like vehicle controls, they're not that complicated. You can drift, you can boost, and then there's like a big ramjet boost that you can use. And basically, it's kind of a cost-benefit analysis there. If you actually save your boost for that, it will send your ride into hyperdrive. So you can choose to use your boost through turns and just get a little bit of boost here and there, or you can wait and save it for the ramjet boost that will send your ride into another.
What's Durvan ACOS?
Durvan ACOS. I don't know. Let me go back.
It looked like a venue to me.
Let me go back. I think I went too far.
No, it was before this.
There we go. Right there, right?
Yeah. Looks like a planet.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Or a moon.
I guess that is the 4th one, Durvan ACOS. I haven't heard of that one
Well,
either.
there's definitely Tatooine because the pod racing is the Boonta Eve track.
Right.
So
yeah.
I assume maybe that's only pod racing on there, but the pod racing takes place on multiple planets in the
It does.
in the canon.
Yeah.
And at the very least, Qui-Gon mentions Malastare.
Yeah.
So
before each race,
you can add tracks forever. On
you
this
can.
game,
Yeah. I mean, the
course.
DLC could be endless for sure. I mean, they could.
I mean, doing it
launch whole planets.
Yeah, doing this with the way the roguelite thing kind of works, like, I mean, it's very modular. You could add stuff for a very long time.
Yeah, you really could. Before each race, there's like a couple things that you can do to get an advantage. First, there's an ignition sequence that's like a little quick time event, a QTE that you do before you begin each race, and that gives you like a boost bonus. Then you can also get a start boost for keeping the throttle within a specific range. So it shows like the throttle, and there's like a little area that you need to keep it in the middle of. And if you do that, you get like a Mario Kart style boost off of the start. So that's a little mechanic that helps you start off the races. And then, as we said earlier, like Burnout, there are takedowns, so you can play offense by ramming into your opponents and setting their vehicles flying. So there's that element of it too. Like, you don't want to wear down your own ship all that much. So if you're on a bike, which, can't take a ton of damage, you need to obviously play a lot more defensive and try to, use your maneuverability and your top speed to an advantage instead of bashing the other cars. And if you're a big vehicle and the bike comes by, you want to hit that bike because you can probably knock it out of the race. And again, the only way your run ends is if your machine is blown up X number of times. That's how you get knocked out and you have to start your run over again. So taking out other drivers or other drivers trying to take you out is a big, big part of the game. And then, of course, for you, if you're the one who pulls off the successful takedown, just like Burnout, time slows down. And it slows down for you, and it slows down for the vehicle that you've wrecked as they watch their machine blast into bits in slow motion. Each vehicle also has a special ability, like a shield, an afterburner, or like a fire attack. And again, you have to be careful. If you overboost, your vehicle can run out of juice and overheat, or there's ice tracks in the game. And if you're on the ice tracks, you have to consistently drive through like these little heater domes so that your vehicle doesn't freeze up. And again, that's another way that you can get knocked out, is if your vehicle completely freezes and kind of busts apart.
My guess is that's that other planet that I saw, the Dawn, whatever that was. Because that's the only one I don't recognize in terms of like environment.
Well, here's the heat things I was just talking about. So on the snow planet, the ice planet, you have to consistently drive through those arches to heat up your machine so it won't freeze up. So, and the opposite happens on the desert track. You can overheat, so you have to be very careful about how you're using your boost. So there's all this stuff to keep track of, but at the base of it all, really at the heart of this game, it is Burnout. And so if you're a fan of that franchise, which has not been around for a really, really long time, like, this game should get a boost for you, for sure. As of right now, it is scheduled for October 6th. As you can see in the upper third there, it's coming to PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. Think this game could run on Switch 2, Matt?
Probably.
Yeah, I think we may end up getting a Switch 2 version of this game ultimately. It may take a while, and, probably after they've done DLC for the original 3 versions first. But yeah, I think eventually we'll probably see a Switch 2 version. But I was just kind of blown away by almost everything about this game that was previewed. I didn't know it was a roguelite. I didn't know about any of the mechanics about how the races worked. I didn't know how much you could upgrade your ships and customize your ships and your racer. I didn't realize how involved the plot and the campaign was. It's way more involved than I thought it was. So I'm pretty blown away by this. It has definitely jumped up my list of games I'm highly anticipating for 2026. I was all over it already, but now I'm like, all right, like this is going to be an event when this game comes out. So That's it. Star Wars Galactic Racer. You have any other thoughts on it, Matt, before we move
Not
on?
really. I hope they advertise it well enough that it doesn't just disappear.
Uh-huh.
I mean, people I know that are not particular gamers have seen some of this. It has definitely broken hardcore gaming containment.
Good. That's good to hear.
And they're like, what the hell is it? Mostly from the pod racing stuff that people were showing. Yeah, so there's interest.
The other thing I would say, too, is it's good to see, like, Disney giving the license to everybody. Instead of just signing some deal with EA where EA makes all the Disney games. Like, now, it can be picky, and it can find really good developers in specific genres like this team to make a racing game.
Yeah. Well, they've been doing that for a while. Lucasfilm learned their lesson after EA dropped the ball as hard as they did. So, I mean, that's why we got Outlaws. Obviously, that didn't work out tremendously well for anybody, but, like, you know, EA lost that exclusivity some time ago. And these are the right people to try this game, you know.
That was the ignition sequence, by the way, that you do.
We'll see how it goes. Like, there is definitely a built-in audience for this beyond just the normal, like, people who still like Star Wars thing, because so many kids grew up with the pod racer games. You know, and like, you do have a pretty wide cross-generational interest in this style of game from Star Wars. So we'll see how it does. But they gotta advertise it. They gotta put this on football. They gotta make it a big deal, or it won't be a big deal. And it still might not be a big deal. Who knows?
I mean, who knows? I don't know with Star Wars anymore. Like, the other thing, I sent you a text about this, that I noticed was, like, a lot of the people who previewed this were younger journalists. They were, like, the green. I don't know why, but as it worked out, it seemed like the younger people on staff ended up previewing this.
They're the only ones that still have jobs because they don't command as much money.
You may be right. And I was shocked at how many people started their previews with, I'm just going to give you full disclosure here, and I do not care about Star Wars.
Well, I mean, if you're in your 20s, why would you?
Yeah.
Like, it
was a moment for me. I was like, oh, I see how things are now.
I mean, you got people who grew up with the originals, you got people who grew up with the prequels, and then, like, there was a big dead space, and then there were the sequels, and those didn't end very well. And then you're kind of like, well, you got these, you know, the TV shows and the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, there hasn't, if you grew up in the last 10, 12 years, there wasn't a whole lot to latch onto.
Yeah.
Because I love The Last Jedi, but like, that is a special movie because I grew up with the whole thing, and it's sort of a capper to, like, the ideas of what were in the original trilogy. I think if you're a kid, that movie was probably pretty hard to follow.
Yeah. Working in this industry for the last 30 years, you just start to take for granted that everybody that works in it loves Star Wars just as much as you do. Because for 30 years, it was true. But now the kids, they don't have an affinity for it.
I mean, we also were in the middle of it during the prequels, and a whole lot of people decided they hated Star Wars during that.
That's
period.
true. That's true.
I never hated the prequels. I don't think...
I was disappointed in them.
Yeah, I don't think they're particularly great, but I never... I mean, again, as I always say, the first prequel is really Return of the Jedi, because a lot of the dumb shit in the prequels and a lot of the structural problems in the prequels are foreshadowed in Return of the Jedi. And if you doubt me, go back and look at how the first third of that movie has nothing to do with the rest of it. The rescue of Han has nothing to do with the rest of the fucking story. Meanwhile, everything in Empire is a mirror and a thematic and
it's why it's the best Star Wars
down
movie.
to the fact that the Empire Strikes Back begins with Han Solo saving Luke before he gets frozen, and it ends with Luke failing to get to Han in time before he gets frozen.
Yeah.
That's how much they're thinking about this stuff, and that doesn't happen in movies anymore.
Silksnake says kids here love Mando and Grogu. Yeah, they're kids. We're talking about people who are working a job in their early 20s.
Yeah, there's like a 20-something gap in there that just didn't really get the Star Wars bug.
Yeah,
which is it's fair.
Whatever. Like I was just surprised,
and again, some of that it's not
guard.
their fault really so much as probably a lot of them were raised by adults who hated the Disney era of Star Wars in the beginning so much they just didn't share that with the kids.
Yeah,
or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm really excited for this game, though. Like, my excitement for it almost doubled.
I admit I am more excited about it because of the Burnout pedigree than the Star Wars pedigree.
Me too, actually.
Because Star Wars game's fine. But you can give me a new Burnout game. Awesome.
Now we're talking.
Like, this could just be Cars, and I'd be excited about it because I love
that's the thing. It's the double whammy. Yeah, it's Star Wars Burnout.
You give me something with Burnout 3 vibes, and I'm in.
And it's Star Wars doubly so. So, I'm really excited for it. And again, it's coming out on October 6th for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. And wait a minute. I think we just got a super chat. Yes, we did. From Binge Watcher. Binge Watcher, you are awesome, man. You are hooking it up today. He or she says, and here I thought I was done with Star Wars games, but I can't wait for this. Me too, man. Me too. And I'll be honest with you, I was kind of there too with Star Wars games. I'm like, I still like them, but they were definitely my excitement for them was starting to wane a little bit.
I like Outlaws. I would be in for Jedi 3 whenever they get around to finishing that for sure. What else is there? If that KOTOR 3 ever gets done, Fate of the Old Republic. I'm
very excited for that.
Yeah. I don't really care about Eclipse, but I'm not 100% convinced that still exists.
Yeah.
So.
I'm definitely not 100% convinced it's ever coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Quantic Dream, it's going through some financial issues right now.
Going through some things.
Yeah, it tried to make a game as a service that bombed. And again, it put this,
what was that?
Some crappy free to play whatever. It doesn't matter. And now they're in trouble. So it's just are people going to learn?
Heavy rain, that's for sure.
All right, so there you go. That is Star Wars Galactic Racer. It's time to move on. We're going to discuss next one of our only reviews for this episode, and this is going to be a brief one because neither one of us actually finished this game, and it is a game called The Adventures of Elliot. It is an HD 2D action RPG. Now, if you remember that art style from Square Enix has been used in a bunch of games.
I would not call it an action RPG. I
Really?
call it an action adventure.
Yeah.
There's no RPG element to this.
Very
this
little.
This is a Zelda game.
Yeah, it is
I know
like
they call it an
NES.
action RPG, but it is not an RPG.
There's not a lot of RPG elements in it. It looks like an RPG.
It does,
but it's not.
You're not leveling up. There's no skill tree. There's no experience points. There's nothing like that. It's an action game.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a Zelda game.
top-down kind of ish Zelda game, NES Zelda game, and that's okay. Like honestly, we really don't get these very often.
Look, I love this art style. I love this little thing the corner they've carved out for themselves with this thing, and I think they should keep experimenting with it. I think that's fun, but I admit I only played the demo of this because I did enjoy this, but I cannot convince myself to pay $60 for this.
Yeah. So the setup for this is basically there's 4 different eras that you play through of the same areas. And when you hear that, usually you're like, wow, well, they could do some cool stuff. You could do something in the oldest era and then have it.
And I think that's fair because I think you see this and you see Square and you look at this and you're instantly going to think of Chrono Trigger, which that was the whole thing of Chrono Trigger. There were 14 endings you could get by messing with the timeline and stuff.
Yep.
But that's not what this is.
No.
And that was kind of shocking.
Yeah, it was to me too. So when you go through the different eras in this game, they don't really change that much. Like if you do something in an older era, it doesn't affect anything in the newer eras.
They look different,
Yeah.
and they're tied in with the story and what they're talking about with what
plot.
happened in the past and the previous generation of the Hero King and things like that. But if you think you're going to be altering things to, at least not so far.
I don't think it ever does it. Yeah.
That's certainly not the premise. Is we're going to make a good future.
Yeah, there's no puzzles where they're go back in time and do this thing that will change the future. That's not how it works.
Yeah, it's not often you play a time travel game where you realize that Sonic CD let you change the future more than this.
Yeah. And then also it's when you go back and play through the areas, it's the same enemies in the same places and the dungeon layout's the same. The cosmetics are different, but it's basically the same.
Sometimes maybe debris is in a different place, so you can go through a different area, a different direction or whatever. But
so I think I wouldn't say it's bait and switch, but my expectations for this were different than what the game is.
It's not as extensive, and maybe I don't know. I was okay, maybe I'm expecting that because it looks like Chrono Trigger would look in this format, or maybe I'm expecting it because I've mostly played things like Octopath Traveler and the Dragon Quest remakes, and those are gigantic and ambitious and sprawling, and this really isn't that.
Yeah.
This is a 30-hour game, apparently more like 60 if you do everything, but it's not the massive sprawling.
You're replaying through content essentially.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Even very early on. It becomes very clear early on. Oh, this is what this is.
Well, you get into the new eras very quickly.
Yeah.
You find the thing that travels through time and off you go. It happens very fast. So
I think I want to say within the first hour.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
It doesn't take long before you're kind of in the thick of it. But here's the thing. I enjoyed playing this game.
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, the combat feels great. There's definitely there's a lot of Zelda in this. There's a lot of pushing stuff onto switches.
And it's a little annoying because the characters act like you've never played one of these before. You're like, maybe even right there, look, do you think that column might be movable? Oh, you think? And you're like, you're already halfway there. You're like, yeah, maybe. You know, it's just like...
And you have a fairy companion named Faye that does a lot of the same stuff that the fairies do in Zelda games, you know. It's
very familiar.
It definitely wears its influences on its sleeve, and that's okay. Again, we don't get games like this all that often anymore. So
again, I'm an execution person, and they do execute this very well.
They do. Yep, the concepts and everything are executed very well. Now, the one thing I will say that I think I was probably most disappointed with is the story. There's a different tone in this from most RPGs, and it's kind of refreshing in some ways.
It is a little refreshing, but it's also sort of like cloying.
It's very positive.
Everyone is so positive. Everyone's real happy to be here.
Yeah.
And it's like imagine an action adventure in an HR department. Everyone is super positive.
Elliot never gets too bent out of shape about stuff. He's always like, "Oh, we can solve it.
We can solve it, right? I'm really glad to be here with you. Well, I'm glad to be here with you, Elliot." Yeah, it's like
it's stuff like that. Yeah,
it's just I mean, it is kind of nice to play a Square game where like everyone wants to be here.
Yeah, they're actually enjoying themselves.
Yeah, it's like, oh, the protagonist isn't reluctant. He kind of enjoys his work. He's like, okay, he's like, yeah, this has got to be done, and I got a reason to do what I do. Like it's not like. It's not bad. It's just sort of like it's different in a way that makes you kind of go like, oh, I guess there is kind of a reason that sometimes there's just a little more cynicism in these things these days.
Yeah.
It's very straightforward in that regard, except for like the one like there's like one advisor guy to the king who clearly has like ulterior motives, but that's even that you're like it's very obvious what he's doing because he's the only one who isn't like relentlessly chirpy like Smurf about everything, you know.
This is another product I would struggle to tell somebody to buy.
I would pay like half what they're charging for this. It's not that again. It's a respectable length. It's very well put together. Like there's nothing like wrong with it, but like it's. I don't know, man. I can't pay $60 for this.
I can't either.
I don't know how else to say it.
Here's one thing I would say about the HD 2D art style is it's really cool and I really like it, and they haven't really overused it yet. But I will say I think. The average player looks at these games and thinks that they're probably indie games.
Yeah. Well, and also I would argue that these are not for the average player.
Yeah.
These are targeted. This has an audience about the same size as He-Man.
Yeah.
I think it's targeting some very specific people in a very specific age demographic, and I happen to be one of those people.
Me too. Yeah. In this game, also, as you're seeing, it also has weapons very much like Zelda.
Yeah.
It has a boomerang.
And like a grappling hook. And the grappling hook's more like just used as a weapon.
It's not a hook shot.
It's not a hook shot, but it's like you're swinging the thing and hitting stuff with it.
Yeah, there's hammers, there's a bow, there's bombs. As you're seeing, there's a boomerang. It's very obviously influenced by the early Zelda game, for sure.
And it does it well. It does, it feels good. Like the combat is snappy. Hitting stuff is satisfying.
Yeah.
The shield stuff works well. You actually have a little
fast travel in this is also very good.
Fast travel is very generous.
So much so that I noticed it.
Yeah.
You can fast travel inside the dungeons in this.
Yeah, you can go anywhere you want.
Yeah.
Like
it really cuts down a lot of the tedium.
Yeah.
But I do think...
And again... extra bravo for Square of all people doing it, because Square is not afraid to make you go through tedium. We know that.
But I do think a lot of people will look at this and be like, that's like a $30 indie game. It's not.
Yeah, it's not. An indie game, schmitty game, don't fucking care. There's something about this that doesn't have a deep enough gameplay profile that I don't think this should be $60.
I don't either.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's the team that did Bravely Default. If you like their stuff, you're gonna find a lot of the same things to like here. But it also has that sort of thing where like I like the Bravely Default games, but they also have the same way this does. It has that thing where you're like, I like this. It's good. It doesn't have whatever that spark is that like makes something super good.
I don't mind the more positive tone. I just think the story in this is kind of bad. Honestly.
Yeah, it's just sort of there.
It's not very interesting. Yeah, he's not a very interesting protagonist, and that to me is what kept me from really getting hooked on it and wanting to finish it. So,
like, he's not an unlikable protagonist, but it's just like one of those things where like if you knew this guy in real life, you'd be like, I don't know if I can take Elliot today.
He's not intriguing.
He's not intriguing, and he's a little too chipper.
Yep.
He's a little too, you're kind of like, what is he up to? maybe that's just me being an old cynical man, but like, but it's just sort of that thing. I would say, like, Elliot, if Elliot was someone you knew in real life, he'd be someone that you'd have to really choose your days to hang out with him.
Yep.
You know, like I can take the Elliot positivity today. I can't take it on tomorrow. You know.
I like this game. I like this game for $30, not $50 or $60. So if you remember this later on down the road when it gets discounted, inevitably.
Yeah, if you can pick this up in a Steam sale for like 30 or less,
you'll be very happy.
Bingo.
Yep.
Like
that's a sweet spot for this. But price like a normal game, I get it. They're trying to say, hey, our HD 2D style is worth full price.
I don't agree with that.
I don't either.
And I don't even mind how much they charge for, like, say, like Dragon Quest 3 or whatever, because it felt like they were redoing that. That's a giant game.
It's also a huge game.
They added a whole bunch of quality of life stuff. They brought it up to like modern standards of how you'd play a game like that today.
Yeah,
it's it's historically important. It's that I didn't feel so bad paying $60 for that. Mm-hmm. This is kind of a new property and a new thing with like a little less meat on the bone in terms of like gameplay depth. I just don't feel like it's in that class. It's not in that weight class.
Noxator Knight says Elliot is from the wrong Philly.
Oh yeah, it is kind of from like fantasy Philadelphia.
What is it called? Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Yeah. Philadelphia. And I was like, so is the far future one gonna be like a horrible, like rough and tumble, like is like everything's gonna be on fire or what?
I was like, what in the hell is that? Why would they name it that? But
some developer on that team just really likes Philadelphia,
or they're from there.
Or they visited there and they really like they just like cheese.
They didn't get mugged.
Yeah. Big cheese whiz aficionados. I don't know.
Huge whiz.
Yeah,
that's the only way to get a cheesesteak. Silkshank says 2D Zelda would be $70. You're right. You're absolutely right.
That's true.
That's true. But I would also say that probably the production values would be a little bit higher than they are here.
Yeah, Link's Awakening, it was a little beyond this in comparison. Probably.
But I enjoyed it. I just wouldn't recommend somebody buy it at full price.
Yeah, and also because like you can get like other actual indie games that do similar Zelda style inspired things for like way less,
$5 or $10 if they're older,
that are about on par with this.
Absolutely.
Or you can just go get one of those Zelda randomizer things and play all the Zelda games at once
and for free, basically. Anyway, that's it for the Adventures of Elliot. It doesn't look like you guys have too much to say about this.
Or get the Nintendo Switch Online thing and play the actual Zelda games. Right there on your Switch.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of different ways to play this kind of game, and a lot of them do not cost $60.
And most of them are way cheaper. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Okay, let's move along. We're going to talk next about Xbox this week. Microsoft.
And also, you can just go download the demo and decide for yourself as well.
That's true. Oh, there is a demo. Is it still up?
I think so.
Yeah.
It still works for me.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know. Maybe sometimes they take the demo down.
I think it's still there. I played it again last night. I didn't reinstall it because I already had it on there. But I played it again last night for like a refresher before we did the show. And usually if it takes it down, I think it gets rid of it.
Okay.
So I don't know, but I think it is still there.
It seemed like that demo was
pretty big. It was definitely still there after the game was released.
Yeah.
So I think it should probably still be up.
Okay. Next up, we're going to talk about Xbox. This week, Microsoft CEO, Mr. Nadella, went on a talk show, and it's crazy how all these Microsoft and Xbox people go on these talk shows, and they cut straight to the chase and start talking about Xbox. And he made a comment during the interview where he said that they basically asked him, like, there's tough, we heard about layoffs coming, like, you're making some tough decisions here and blah, blah, blah. And he just laid it all out, and he said, well, right now, YouTube is making more money off of our games than we are. They said that right now, YouTube monetizes Xbox games via Let's Plays and trailers and ads more than Microsoft does. Do you believe that?
I mean, that is certainly an economy of scale that it's hard to get your mind around.
I'm sure Xbox is trying to get its mind around it, because that's a big deal. If a video website can serve ads against your games and make more money off your games than you are by selling them or having them on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. I mean,
at this point, it feels like Microsoft is kind of running the Xbox division like a charity.
It really does. Or it has been for a really long time. And now they're coming to reality, and it's like, are they going to be able to fix this?
Yeah, it's like, at a certain point, do you just declare Xbox a non-profit and call it a day? Or what do you do? That's not how a business works.
No one's ever going to buy it.
Right.
So I mean, literally, there are no buyers for Xbox. Nobody's going to buy that business. So you're either stuck with going forward with it and making it work or killing it.
I still think you make it a publishing arm. You just like Games for Windows was or Game whatever.
Well, I think what he's saying is like we've done that for the last year and a half, and that's not enough.
But they didn't do it like full bore. Like they didn't commit to that, you know. And they were all still doing the Game Pass thing. Kill Game Pass, become a third-party publisher, publish good games, make your money off that. Is that going to be enough for them? Who fucking knows? In this world of line must go up. Is it going to, you know, is anyone at Microsoft going to be able to admit that's what they should do? Because you can't, like, you know, if you admit that you've been doing the wrong thing for the last 10 years, whose head rolls for that?
Yeah.
Right?
The YouTube thing has come up like 3 times in the last week, kind of out of nowhere.
They do seem to think about it a lot.
All of a sudden, all these publishers and developers are talking about YouTube because Square Enix recently said that they need to make sure that they start making games that actually appeal to people who watch other people play games, or they need to change their games so that people see value in them so they'll stop watching them on YouTube and will buy them. And then this quote came from Nadella this week. There was one other developer or publisher, I can't remember, who issued a very similar statement, basically saying like, dude, like YouTube's making a lot of money off our freaking games. Like, how can we stop this? I don't know if it's stop it, but how can we capitalize on this maybe is what they're trying to figure out. We talked about this when game streaming first started. This was a discussion point was, well, wait a minute, like if people are going to watch other people play games, why would they buy them? And it feels like we've now fast forwarded 12 years and the publishers are finally saying, hey, wait a minute, like, is this working out for us? Is it working out for them, Matt? I think
it's a red herring for the most part. I think this is just people who are panicking over every single dime suddenly counting in terms of the bottom line and finding this thing to blame for it. I think everyone is so tight on money and everything has to be an improvement. Everything has to be year over year. Everything has to be up, 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 up. You're like desperately looking for where can we find more revenue? Where is more revenue? Where is more revenue?
Well, they want that 30% profit margin in Xbox, which is just completely unrealistic.
And so one of the places you find there, it's like, okay, well, YouTube's making all this revenue off our games, so how do we get that? And it's like, well, the answer is you don't, because you're not YouTube.
You're right, though, because what's happening right now is the purse is starting to get pinched. Like the glory days, the golden age of the console gaming market is over.
Yeah. And that weird period where Phil could do whatever he wanted and nothing ever seemed to happen.
Yeah.
Like, that seems to be over.
That's over.
I mean, clearly that era lasted about 3 years, at least longer than it should have.
The spending spree, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it goes beyond that. I think,
and for a long time, I think we're sort of like, well, there must be a plan, and it really looks like there wasn't.
Yeah. Well, I think
because for a long time, remember, we couldn't figure out quite what they were doing.
Yeah.
And the answer seemed to be like they were doing this thing, and they couldn't think of anything else to do, and they were hoping at some point it sort of like hit some sort of critical mass of rolling downhill, and it just never happened.
Well, I think what happened is that for the last 10 years, these publishers and developers were making plenty of money on their games. And I think now that the economy worldwide is kind of in the crapper and inflation's bad everywhere, and after COVID, I think they're being pinched. And they're like, maybe we can't afford to do this anymore. And so we need to find some way to get some of that money back. And I think you're right. They're grabbing for the lowest hanging fruit, which is like, hey, there's this business that's basically one of those little fish that swim along the sharks and are like eating our little niblets. And as it turns out, now that little fish is bigger than the shark.
Also, that little fish is part of Google.
Right.
And you're probably not going to win that fight, but B, no one's going to get mad if you start shit with Google, right? So like, it's like no one thinks you're being mean to Google.
Yeah.
So you can have this fight if you want, but I don't think you're going to win it.
I mean, even if you decided, you know what, we're not going to let people do let's plays of our games anymore. How do you police that?
Yeah.
There's no way to do it. Because if you police YouTube and somehow Google works with you on that, which it never will because it would lose so much money.
Yeah, Google probably likes it makes more money than you do off your own games.
So you try to find some other place to do it.
You want to talk about passive income.
Right.
Like, YouTube doesn't need to do anything. They don't make the game. They don't make the stream. They don't do none of it.
I've had a lot of negative feelings about YouTube resurface over the last week. A lot of it has to do with what's been going on with SIFTD and GameFace and the algorithm there. It's just dredged up a lot of memories for me of when I worked at Viacom, and Viacom was suing YouTube for stealing its content. and stealing game trailers
Yeah, I remember
content
that.
and building its business on stolen
Like
content.
seconds later.
So
Like,
what happened was the original owners of YouTube, and they found emails between the original owners saying like, we don't care because we're going to sell this thing as soon as it gets big enough, and they can deal with the legal part of it. And so they found emails from the original founders who said, we're going to steal stuff, we're going to build this business, and then we're going to sell it and get crazy rich, and then the people who bought it can deal with the legality of it. And Viacom still lost the court case because of some ancient radio law that they used to apply to the case or whatever. But anyway, my negative feelings around YouTube have really resurfaced over the last week or so, thinking about like all the stuff with the show and everything. It just got my mind back on YouTube for whatever reason. And I'm just like, man, it's crazy what YouTube has got away with. Like, it built one of the biggest businesses in the world, stealing, basically. But too big to fail was what we heard. Like, some of the jurors in that case, by the way, who were interviewed after it was over, said that there was no way I was going to allow them to take down YouTube because I like it too much. A juror said that it didn't matter what evidence they presented or nothing. There was no way in hell I was going to allow Viacom to shut down YouTube.
Well, those jurors were ahead of their time.
Yeah, apparently they were. So I can understand where the publishers are a little pissed off, but this is like, crying over spilled milk after it's already like curdled on the counter. Like, if you were angry about this, you should have fought that fight 10 years ago. Now there's no win in the fight.
No.
So bottom line is Xbox, maybe YouTube is making more money off your games, but you needed to figure it the F out. There's no one's coming to save you.
Everyone expects it to be what it is now,
Yeah.
and if you come and do something about it, all of a sudden everyone's going to be mad at you.
Your
not YouTube.
lawyers aren't going to find some loophole to save you. It's not going to happen.
Well, and even if they do, what's going to happen? Everyone's just going to be mad they can't watch games anymore.
Or just mad at Xbox.
Yeah.
Because other publishers won't do it. They're not going to follow suit
No.
if Microsoft does it. Because there is value in people playing your games. Even if you're just scrolling through your feed and just seeing the thumbnail for the game, that's an advertisement that puts that game in someone's mind. So, look, I don't know if anyone will ever figure out like the actual real sort of algorithm of it all and the math of it all, of like what percentage of people who watch a Let's Play actually go and buy the game versus people that we're never going to get that data. So you are kind of flying by the seat of your pants on this stuff if you're a publisher or your Xbox.
And you just got to accept
But it's
that
just
not
the way it
everyone who
is.
sees this stuff is going to buy the game.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the price of doing business. Not everyone who plays your demo is going to buy your game.
Yeah.
Like, just think of it that
It's
way.
a very small percentage. It absolutely is. And I think you're right. I think initially a lot of publishers were like, every person who watches a Let's Play is a lost sale. That is completely
Nonsense.
irrational. Like, that is not the case. Like, my guess would be 1% of people that watch a Let's Play actually buy the game.
It's
what would you think?
it's got to be pretty low.
Pretty low, yeah.
It's definitely below 25%
Yeah.
one way or the other.
For sure. So anyway,
it's not a fight worth fighting. I don't think.
So to me, this is more of an indictment on how well YouTube has done in exploding its business and how poorly Xbox has done in exploding its business. If it had enough leeway and overhead with its business model, it wouldn't be worried about the money that YouTube is making off of Let's Plays. So even Nadella has been fooled by it. He's supposed to be a genius, apparently, allegedly. But even he doesn't quite get it. And, he doesn't really live and breathe games. I mean, neither does Asha, for that matter. You're right, though. This is something Phil Spencer should have figured out before either of those two got involved.
If it was even a problem,
Right.
which is, it just feels like a thing they picked out because they need a reason for the top
Boogeyman.
brass.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, here's where all that revenue's going that you want. It's
Yeah.
over there. But we can't do anything about Google.
Yeah.
Maybe Microsoft is a big entity and you should do something about Google. Like, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Please.
Now, this game, like Hellblade 2, like, he's probably right. My guess is there was more ad revenue generated by Let's Plays on YouTube than sales of this game.
Probably. I mean, because you don't really lose a lot
Yeah.
if you just watch this game.
It's also on Game Pass as well.
I kind of felt like I was watching
Right.
it sometimes playing it.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe in our review we talked about, like, you could probably watch somebody play this and get the same thing out of it as you would if you played it yourself. So, Anyway, I think you're right. I think it's Microsoft and Xbox just looking for a boogeyman to blame their financial foibles on. They've probably been looking at this for a good 2-3 months now, and Asha hasn't come up with like the eureka moment yet. And he's
there isn't
like,
going to be one. This is a years-long turnaround you're going to have to helm here.
But everybody wants it in an instant.
Right, because their bosses want it in an instant.
Yeah.
Like, how come you don't have any results? It's been like 3 months.
Yeah.
3 months, we got to undo literally
years,
16 years of errors.
Mistakes. Yep, it's true. So anyway, yeah, I really am kind of wondering, like, where is Xbox going to be in a year? Like,
I bet they are too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's hard to figure out. It could be completely gone. It could have turned things all the way around by then.
No. It's going to take years.
Yeah, it might.
If they can.
Yeah.
And you're going to, and again, patience is not the strong suit of modern mega corporations.
No. So. Especially right now with stockholders, and it's like every quarter you have to deliver. You can't have a quarter off or you lose like $80 billion of your valuation or whatever. It's really bizarre how things are. But anyway, that's the latest on the finances.
Like the smart money would be to kind of settle the Xbox brand down into a publisher that does sort of a similar business model as Capcom.
Yeah.
But that's never going to make them enough money to make the bosses at Microsoft happy. So what can you do?
Yep.
Basically slowly collapse like a flan in a cupboard.
Yep. Well, that actually transitions very nicely into the next topic, which is related to Game Pass. So Moon Studios is the studio behind the Ori and the Will of the Wisps franchise. It has been tied to Xbox all along. It's been on Game Pass. At a certain point, like a year and a half or 2 years ago, it appears that the studio had some kind of a falling out with Microsoft. Like all of a sudden, the CEO started having like all these negative things to say about Microsoft and Game Pass and Xbox and all this stuff. And that has continued this week. The CEO of the studio basically said that that Game Pass is not going to work because Microsoft has become a producer of mediocre content instead of great content, and that for Game Pass to succeed, it needs like every month top shelf AAA content. Do you agree with that?
I mean, it would be preferable, but I don't think that's what you're going to get.
I mean, but do you think that they need that for Game Pass to really kind of hit its potential?
I mean, potential of what? Like,
Well,
in the end, it seems like Game Pass was a doomed experiment no matter what. Like they wanted to see if there was a market for people who would pay a subscription fee to do this, and they found out that it was not enough.
Yeah. Here's his exact quote, and it's kind of long, so bear with me. The Game Pass strategy could have worked if people would have shown up for it. And this is coming from Thomas Mahler. And again, he's the CEO of Moon Studios. The Game Pass strategy could have worked if people would have shown up for it. Problem is, they didn't, and the software catalog was just nowhere near good enough to make people happily pay the subscription every month. It's the same as with streaming in the film business. I'll happily pay my HBO sub because HBO has amazing content that I want to watch. I'd keep that sub just to binge Sopranos, The Wire, Game of Thrones, etc. But with games, new, for some reason, is very, very important to players. I don't know that I agree with that, by the way. And if your new content doesn't even remotely match the quality of the old content, you've got a problem. Microsoft needed its studios to deliver more hits that a broad audience would want to play, but what was the Xbox game in recent years that was just delightfully good? That game doesn't exist. Almost every single first-party studio in recent years has been floundering. You want Bethesda to create a Skyrim in space that ought to be better than Skyrim. But we got Starfield instead. And that's the crux of the issue. You need the Xbox folks to deeply, fundamentally understand gamers and what they want. They need to understand what a good game and what a mediocre game is. And they'd have to have good deals with devs so developers are actively incentivized to produce massive hits. How do you feel about all that?
And if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bicycle. Like,
Yeah.
Okay. Like, yeah, that'd be nice. But it's not what happened. It's not what's going to happen.
Is essentially what he's saying that Game Pass is an impossible business model?
Pretty much. I mean, it's like, yeah, if everything was perfect, Game Pass would probably been a bigger hit.
I mean, do you agree with him?
Like, also, like, hey, why don't you fucking make the game you're talking about while you're at it?
Right,
like,
because your game didn't move the needle either,
No,
bruh. Like, your games were on Game Pass.
Also, the comparison to HBO Max is bizarre. Because guess what? People who subscribe to watch, like, good top-flight programming, that's not why streaming services succeed. They succeed because brainless weirdos leave their subscriptions in place so they have brainless noise to play in the background while they do laundry. Like, that's why Netflix has requirements of making some of these things where it's like, you got to start with this opening thing. Famously, there's I can't remember the name of it, but there was a rom-com, like a family-oriented, like, rom-com, like people getting together, and I mean, like, just all, just I guess would have called it a chick flick back in the day or whatever. So when it did well enough that Netflix wanted a sequel. So the director of this said, so we went to them, they said, we want to do a sequel, but here's the thing. A bunch of people, the people who watched your movie, the next thing they watched, the largest percentage of people, the next thing they watched was Italian and Greek stuff. Like stuff that was set in Italy, or like stuff about Italy and Greece. So the sequel to your rom-com family comedy has to take place in Europe. So the sequel is set in Europe.
Funny.
Because of that. Like, that's how deep this is, right? Yeah. That's all it is. Just focus testing. The data says that people, like, it's like back in the many years ago, there was a stretch of time in the 50s and 60s where DC Comics had gorillas on the covers of their comics all the time.
You mentioned this before,
and the reason is because one issue with a gorilla on the cover sold like 4 times normal amount. So DC editorial was like, everything needs a gorilla on the cover because that's why that sold so much more. Like, that's literally how stupid the decision making is at the top levels of these companies all the time.
It really is.
And these people are getting paid obscene amounts of money to make these stupid decisions, which I should note could very easily be made just as poorly by AI.
Right, that's true. Actually,
the first things you should be replacing in a company is the executive wing.
Yeah. Do you agree with? So he brought up like The Sopranos and How many of those have HBO had? Like,
the fact that you're still mentioning The Sopranos 25 years later sort of indicates how uncommon that is.
HBO doesn't have a banger like that every single month.
No.
Like, no. Like, you go on there now. It's like, I just went on HBO this weekend to, like, watch the new Game of Thrones or whatever. There's nothing on there. No. Like, there's nothing new on there I want to watch.
You know
what?
The highest percentage of, like, such bangers on any streaming service is Apple TV, and no one fucking pays.
And no one cares.
No one cares. Apple TV, where celebrities go to hide.
I know, it's really bizarre. It is so bizarre.
It is insane to me that every single human being who cares about good storytelling has not seen For All Mankind.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Like, unbelievable. But here we are.
I just say, I think this guy's full of crap.
Yeah.
I think this guy, something happened with him and Xbox. He got spurned. He's not happy with them. He's looking for ways to lash out at them.
I mean, it's like, if every time you subscribe to Game Pass, a bunch of little fairies flew little gold coins to my house, that would have been a big success.
Because you're right. It's just about as plausible as, like, putting out, like, a AAA killer game every month.
Yeah, it would have been really great if Starfield was as good or better than Skyrim, but it wasn't, and I don't believe that Todd and Bethesda tried to make it worse. Like, what I think they would have loved if that game had been as good as Skyrim, but it wasn't. Like, that's just how it fucking goes. So no one goes out sets out to make a bad game or a bad movie.
His comment too about new games, that's nonsense. Like, people are not buying new games, they're buying the older games on a discount. Like, he's just full of it. This guy is full of it.
If the new game thing was true, why has everyone bought 4 copies of GTA 5?
Right.
What are you fucking talking? You just brought up Bethesda. How many copies of Skyrim has everyone bought? What are you fucking talking about?
I agree with you, man. This guy's full of it. Yep.
Like, no disrespect to the Ori games.
Thomas Mahler is full of it.
No disrespect to the Ori games because they're both great.
Yeah, they are.
Like, what?
But they didn't move the needle either.
No, that didn't do it.
They're great games, according to him.
Maybe Game Pass only failed because Ori 3 didn't make it out in time. Ever think of that?
Or people were disappointed in Ori 2.
Yeah.
So, this guy's full of it. Like, sometimes it can be hard to kind of suss out just malcontents out of the industry. This guy, Thomas Mahler, is definitely one of them.
It's like, if everything had gone perfectly, Game Pass probably would have done well.
Yeah.
But it didn't. And so I guess here we are.
Yeah.
Like, it just isn't very useful analysis, I would say.
I think it's crazy. Majora Tom Leet says Nadella complaining about YouTube making more money off their games than them is the definition of a you, them being Microsoft problem. Yep, that is true. Yep. Cinetike says, I have my Windows 11 PC. I go to Good Old Games, and I can buy and play a game from like 1997, and it runs. Yeah. A lot of people are all into old games. Like, he has no clue. He was wrong on everything. Mm-hmm. Literally, he was wrong about everything. He's supposed to be, like, industry expert.
Yeah, you know what? If you could do, like, if you added, like, all the old PC games, like what GOG does, to PC Game Pass, that would get me to subscribe to that all by itself.
I think a lot of people would, but the monthly cost for that would be crazy.
It'd be obscene.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We're going to talk next about another game that Matt has played recently, and it is a Star Trek game. I think we've maybe reviewed one other Star Trek game, Star Trek Bridge Crew, on the entire history of GameFace.
Because they don't really come out that often.
Yeah.
Speaking of GOG, like the best Star Trek games are on that.
Yeah. We're going to talk about Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown? Yeah.
Across the Unknown.
Across the Unknown.
Yeah.
For PC, PS5, Xbox Series. Is the Switch 2 version out yet?
I don't know.
Yeah. It always seems like they follow later.
This came out a while ago, but this was like February or something like that.
But you finally got around to playing it.
Well, no, I played it back then,
but
they have improved it a lot, and it was just one of those things that was not really prominent enough to talk about during the flurry of the
releases.
First half of the year.
People have requested that we talk about this game, so here we are.
Yeah. So this is, then they did just do a big update that did improve a bunch of stuff about it. But so basically, this is based on Voyager, which is not some people's favorite Star Trek, not most people's favorite Star Trek, but it's based on Voyager, and what it is the premise of Voyager, which is there is a experimental new starship that is helmed by a new crew, and they go to answer this like problem that happens, and the result of the problem is that they get zapped into what's called the Delta Quadrant, which is like there's 4 quadrants in the galaxy. We are in the we're in the Alpha Quadrant. The Delta Quadrant is pretty much unexplored. It's at maximum warp. It would take like 70, 80 years to get back home. So basically, they get zapped over there. They should know, in an instant. Like, they have no idea how they got there. And there's like some stuff that there's other people they find there that were part of like a rebel faction that ends up having to join the crew, and there's like tension about that. And they're they don't really know each other that well, and they're off in this often nowhere, and they have to find their way home. And the premise of Voyager is basically this ship is trying to get home, and they have to ration their torpedoes, which is mentioned in the first episode, never brought up again. And like they have to make sure that and they're encountering all new civilizations, all new people, all new places that they have no context for any of it, because it's a completely different part of the galaxy.
Yeah.
It's also at some point revealed. The Delta Quadrant is basically where the Borg come from. So that's.
I'm not surprised to learn that.
So they get into that too. That's where 7 of 9 shows up. Totally not just added for sex appeal. It was absolutely a huge narrative deal. So what this is a story, basically a story-driven survival game.
Okay.
And you have sort of the bare bones crew of the Voyager, and you're going to go through the early episode, you have the early story stuff, and you're going to make choices. You're going to send away teams down. You're going. If you've ever played XCOM, the modern XCOM, not modern because those games are like 20 years old now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But like those games with the base building, or like Fallout Shelter with the side view,
side cross section.
That's what the Voyager looks like in this, and you have to clear out debris because it's been damaged by the accident that sent you to the Delta Quadrant. So you have to clear out debris, and like you got to build, repair the transporter room. But the tutorial runs you through all this stuff, and so you're building out the Voyager however you kind of want. Is sort of this like a Fallout Shelter kind of thing. You're assigning crew. You have to make sure the crew has food to eat, and like which you got to switch to emergency rations, and that'll make the morale go down and happiness go down. And if happiness goes down too far, it gets really bad. And
it sounds like Fallout Shelter.
It does have a lot of that to it, but there's also away missions, and there's you can choose your crew, and they have different skills, and you go to the skills, and it's sort of like Baldur's Gate 3, where you choose what to do, and then like it's almost a little die roll thing that determines how well that turns out, and you can order the ship around and scan all the planets, and they have some resources, and you go and you choose how to deal with those. You can get you risk more to get more of the resource, but if you fail, then like it might damage the ship, or somebody might get hurt, and they got to go to sick bay for a while, and can't use them for a while, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Meanwhile, you are going through most of the major events of the series.
Oh, that's great.
And the trick is, this game has narrative branching almost, I'd say, on the level of Baldur's Gate 3.
Wow.
And you can make, if you have an episode of Voyager where you were like, that was stupid, and they should have done something different, Well, here you go.
You can fix it.
You can. One of the big things that people argue about with Voyager is the Tuvix episode, and that is when is an episode where these two characters, Neelix and Tuvok, who are the weird alien guy they meet who cooks all the food, is Neelix, and Tuvok is the Vulcan. There's a transporter accident, and they get fused into one character, one new person called Tuvix.
Wow.
And the upshot of the episode is the question of, like, do they separate him into the original two characters again? And Tuvix himself argues that would be murder because he is another
person
a new
now.
person.
Yeah.
And in the end, Captain Janeway decides, I need to get my crew back. I need my two original crew members back, and basically
murders the new person.
Kills Tuvix to get Tuvok and Neelix back. And I hope I'm getting those characters right. I hope those are the two right characters. I think it is. And it's been a very long time since I watched Voyager.
Still, we get the gist of it.
But so in that, if you and there are people who thoroughly disagree with her on this. There are people who thoroughly agree with her on that. It's a huge argument in the fandom. You can do whatever you want here.
It lets you choose.
Lets you choose.
That's good.
Other characters can die if you make stupid decisions. Like a main character, if you don't like Chakotay or you do something stupid, Chakotay could die in the first hour of the game.
Is it like permadeath, like XCOM?
Permadeath.
Wow.
It's over.
Wow.
That's it.
That's cool.
You could play out the whole Voyager story without major characters being.
Wow. That's a lot of work.
It is.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of freedom to it. And I think it's a little less annoying than Baldur's Gate because it's not just a random die roll where, like, if you roll a 1, you have a 5. Baldur's Gate 3, you have a 5% chance of instantly failing anything you try to do because there's a 1 out of 20 chance you're going to roll the 1. On this, it shows you very clearly there's like a bar and a little arrow goes back and forth. And it shows you this part's green, that's a good outcome. This part's yellow, it's not great, but it's not terrible. And this red is bad. Like,
so it gives you a little bit of guidance.
So you'll see, like, the big red on the bar, you're like, okay, that's a much riskier thing to do. But you're not going to randomly... And you've got, like, percentages of skills that tell you how what percentage that you're going to hit what side of the bar, so you can make an educated choice on it. It's not quite so random. But it is that thing of, like, well, you never know. And you'll hear right here, you get to choose between these two. So you have, the second option is obviously much higher possible outcome.
Let me go back.
But the yellow is that the yellow is the normal outcome, and the green here is the good outcome. So when you click the tractor beam option, you'll see the little arrow goes back and forth, and we'll see where it ends up. But it gives you've got your odds right there, and then it fills up. You hit the yellow. So the yellow is average, so nothing bad happened, but you just didn't get as much as you would have if you picked the safe option.
Gotcha.
But you had a chance to get way more if it ended up in the green. It's that kind of thing.
Is this the only real gameplay in the game?
More or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as like timing based
it
stuff.
is. I mean, there's some real time like ship stuff and moving around like that.
But you don't fight other ships in space.
You do.
Oh, you do.
You got to use the phasers and the protons, but it is mostly choice.
You're not
driven.
actually flying the ship and shooting.
Not
the ship.
really. It's
like, okay, they're in range. Now fire their torpedoes.
It's very choice driven and stuff like that. Yeah. It is very narrative and stat driven.
Yeah, it sounds like a dream game for fans of Voyager.
It is. I would say it is. And they do it very well.
How much is it?
Oh, I mean, I bought this months and months ago.
But like,
it's not full price.
It's not like 67.
It's not $60. Yeah. No, it's. I want to say it's 40.
Okay.
But I might be wrong.
Have you finished this game?
No, I've lost it. Like in terms of
died.
like I died and Voyager became a derelict ship. Yeah. But I have not successfully gotten back to Starfleet headquarters, if that's what you mean.
Is it safe to say people who like Fallout Shelter will like this?
Maybe. I mean, I think you need to like Star Trek.
Yeah.
More than anything else. But you can see the comparison here. Like that, it is very similar to that kind of base building. So if you like that, or like kind of. I mean, XCOM is probably the closer comparison because XCOM has that sort of thing where, like, we got to build this to enable this other kind of gameplay.
Like cascades.
And if we fuck that up, we're all going to die.
Right.
But it's that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
I would guess that if you asked one of the developers, they would say XCOM is sort of their primary...
Their inspiration.
Their watch tower there.
Okay.
But yeah, basically, if you like Star Trek at all, you're probably going to find something you like. And it's just because of the nature of being able to run your own ship.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are playing as Janeway. I mean, you don't get to create your own captain or anything. You are Janeway running the Voyager. And you do run it into, like, all the characters and stuff. Sometimes you got to choose, like, do we want to save Chakotay or do we want to save B'Elanna Torres? And, like, whichever one you pick, you're going to end up with that character first. Sometimes you might end up with that character and not the other one ever. Like if you make the wrong choices, you may never get some of the main cast in your crew.
I see.
It's that freeform.
That's
you
cool.
are not railroaded through anything once the tutorial ends.
Yeah.
You can go down to an away mission. They might, a main character might die.
Yeah.
Like you don't know. Like
you never go to like planet surfaces or anything like that.
Can.
Oh, you do?
I mean, it's not like you don't like
go there.
It's like the mission takes you there, and it all happens in menus.
I see. Okay.
And you talk to like people down on the planet, and like there's little pictures of the crew, and talking to them, and you got to decide how to deal with them and what to do.
Their fate, basically.
So yeah, it is all dialogue,
decision making.
I mean, I guess sort of think in terms of like how menu driven Disco Elysium is.
Okay.
Except without the Baldur's Gate style like moving around like that. It's all narrative stuff.
Okay. Would you recommend this to people who do not like Star Trek?
No.
Just on its own merits as a game?
No.
I
think you need enough. Baseline Star Trek knowledge to function in this game.
Okay.
Like you need to know kind of what stellar cartography does and why replicator rations are better than emergency. There's a little. Yeah. I mean, you can learn it for sure, but like if you like, part of the fun of this game is sort of the fantasy of running your own Starfleet ship.
Yeah.
And running into these characters and running into these monsters and running into this. I mean, a big part of it is getting to choose your own way through the dilemmas that are presented in the original series.
Yeah, that you're already aware of. Yeah.
Because I would say more than probably any other Star Trek series pre-modern Trek, Voyager is the one that everybody has problems with how the crew behaves. No. Except maybe there's a couple episodes of Enterprise where Archer kind of commits some light genocide at times. That's probably probably maybe more controversial than some. But like Janeway did some horrible shit. And again, they're sort of those choices that have no right answer. But if you would like to choose the other way and see what would happen, here's your game.
Let you do it. Well, that's cool. And again, that is Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown for PC, PS5, Xbox Series, not Switch 2, and it costs...
It is $35 on Steam right now.
And you're cool with that?
I think that's an excellent price for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. There you go. That's Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. Up next, we're going back to Xbox Land to talk about Halo. Oh, wait. I think we have some super chats over on YouTube. Yes, we do. All right. What is the R50? Is that the Russian ruble?
Maybe.
It's 10 US, though. Thank you, Silenetto. That's awesome, man. $10 to help put a stop to the slander against us YouTube viewers. That's funny. Watched last week's show this morning. Hope you turn things around. My 10 cents, with all respect, you got to let go of the production values, B-roll, etc. Viewers don't care much. Okay. I will say this. A lot of the comments on our Patreon were from people who said they very much care about the B-roll.
Brazilian real.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. And CFHX with $13.99 Canadian, thank you. Says, please don't stop streaming on YouTube, gentlemen. Thoughts on Edge Runner Season 2? Not sure if Matt ended up watching the Cyberpunk spinoff, but would be curious to hear what you have to say.
I watched the original. I didn't watch Season 2 yet or whatever. I thought it was good.
Okay.
It's fine.
All right. Okay, it's time to move on. As I said, we're going to talk about Halo, and we're talking about Xbox again, and people are freaking out over the Halo ring. So, Matt, what happened is this week, Xbox put up a 6-hour loop of the splash screen for Halo Campaign Evolved, which is a remade version of the original campaign from the first Halo that's coming out pretty soon here. And they just put up a 6-hour loop of the Halo ring, just slowly spinning with the camera panning or whatever. And Halo fans went back and found, I think it was the collector's edition of the original game, and they found the Halo ring from that, and they put it side by side. And so I'll put it up real fast here. Here is the old Halo ring from the original Halo Combat Evolved CE version. And then here's the new one. And they hate the new one. They literally are losing their minds, starting online petitions over the new Halo ring. And basically what has happened here is that back in the old days, when you had a Halo ring that looked like this, the hardware was incapable of rendering a lot of detail. So they made just a ring and slapped a texture on it, and that was it. They called it a day. Now, we have hardware capable of rendering a lot more detail. And so they actually put the detail into the Halo ring that has been there all along, according to their artists, but they were just incapable of displaying due to hardware limitations.
Well, that's a lie. But
really?
Yeah, because this is not the same Halo ring as what the original shows. The problem, and so I don't agree with how crazy these people are getting, but the difference here is that this Halo ring is gigantic, and the other one is not.
How do you know that?
Because this scale, because it probably is about supposed to be the same size, but the problem is that the detail they're putting in here is chunky enough that it makes it look smaller. It's like, I guess the best comparison would be, imagine like in Return of the Jedi when they're going into the Death Star like tube, and you've got all that scaffolding and everything there. That looks like this. If you go to the other one, go to the other picture. That's the surface of the Death Star when they're approaching the Death Star. There's a detail level of scale that this gives the impression of like this immense planetary sized thing, that the way they've decided to do the kind of the superstructure looks smaller, looks smaller scale. And I don't think that was intentional. I don't think that's what they're trying to. I think you're right. They are trying to, we have a fidelity level now. We're trying to like create something that looks like that level of fidelity without like, because again, if you really wanted to recreate that first image in this detail, you'd need to put this level of detail 1,000 times smaller in those little, because if you go back to the other one, if you look at like kind of the, like look next to that ring there, like that ring is probably the size of California, and like you would need to put like. But
isn't that thing there also the size of California?
But look how big it's sticking out, and it's a weird separate thing. It's not like it doesn't look like a geological feature. It looks like.
Well, they make the rings look like they're more
right,
mechanical than organic.
I don't mean it in that way. I mean that the scale is wrong here in the sense that
I think it's because in this one the ring is wrapping around a planet, so you have the planet as a scale.
No,
and these two images are the ones they've been using in every comparison. By the way, this one, the planet's over there in the corner. You can't see how big the ring is in relation to the planet.
So it's not that.
That's what I think. To me, it is, because I don't follow what you're saying at all. Like to me, that thing there is the size of California, just like the other thing was.
I mean, it's probably intended to be, but it doesn't give you the because these that I'm talking about the side, kind of on the side here with these long girders, like that doesn't look like something that's the size of, Pennsylvania. Because that's about how wide those things are. They look like smaller structures. And is it a dumb thing to get upset about? Yes, of course it is. Because clearly they're not intended to be smaller. Because if you look at the inside of the ring where you've got like the water and the continents, and then you go back to the other one, this is actually bigger. Because if you look, like that's actually like larger landmass, and you go to the other one, it looks hazier and it looks harder to see because there's more. But that actually looks like a larger area of land to me than the original version. But like I think it's just partly because the standard scale of model making is that you basically get less detailed the further out you get, because you can see less detail. And in conjunction with that, the way they did the original ring image, in part because of the limitations of the hardware, is it's kind of impressionistic, and it gives you the opportunity to sort of imagine whatever you're supposed to be seeing there.
Your brain is filling in the blanks.
And there's nothing to fill in
now they
anymore.
have to decide. So back then, the artist could be like, well, it doesn't matter. It's the tech can't handle it, so we'll just slap this texture on it.
Right.
But now they have the power to do it, and they have to decide what the stuff looks like.
Right. And
now they have to figure out, what does this actually look like?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think they did that. I think you could make it so if you could make this look like that, sure. But I think this would, if I was going to decide to make this look like that, that's what a Halo ring looks like in like modern fidelity. I would take that kind of girder stuff on the side of it there, and if you go back to the original shot, like that would be like an inch of this. And the problem, I think, is that is a pretty good way to depict it, like the new version, the pretty good way to depict sort of like what they're showing there, with those little like lines and the striations and the little like dark green versus light green sections. But you'd be putting thousands of those on. It would take forever. And I don't think it's worth their time to do that. I think maybe they should have just sort of made it look like the Death Star surface and called it a day. And instead they decided to get like really detailed and add that kind of like that energy kind of power conduit down the middle, which is a pretty cool detail.
I mean, you're really close to the ring there. I mean, you're you know.
But I don't think
you have to see some details.
But like I don't think you are that close to the ring, because I think you are still
Because it's so gigantic.
a couple 100 miles away from that thing.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Whereas it looks like that should be what you're seeing as you're coming in for a landing on the ring. And I think that's part of the... And again, I'm not saying the people screaming about this would be able to articulate that, but I think that's what's happening.
I think they're just nostalgic and salty over the change.
Well, and it's partly that, and it's partly just the fact that, like, you know, when you were younger and you saw that thing, I mean, I'm sure they're all younger than us and played that as a younger kid, and you see that, and your imagination fills all these things in, and then you're an adult and you see this thing and it doesn't have the same spark to it because it is a very different take on the same subject, and because your brain doesn't work like that anymore because you're an adult and you've lost a lot of your imagination because you
sadly
apparently care way too much about things that people do in video games rather than real life.
Yeah.
So you just react poorly to it. I mean, a similar thing happened with the Star Wars prequels. A similar thing happens to everything. It's the same thing where everybody's talking about modern gaming is terrible. It's not. It's fucking better than it's ever been. But it isn't the thing that sparks that amazing joy in you like you did when you were a kid, because it sparked that because you'd never seen anything like that before. Nothing can recreate that now.
Oh yeah,
like that's
just jaded. Yeah, there's no turning back the clock.
And as soon as you recognize that and come to terms with that, you'll enjoy life a lot more.
You will, yeah.
Like that's the path to misery, is being upset that things don't affect you the way they did when you were 8.
Yeah, that's a road to ruin.
Like, I don't know what. Like, I'm sorry, the peanut butter cup is never going to taste as good as that first one.
Yep. It's true. Yep. Just like your first love, it'll never be as strong.
I think that's why you see, like, where there's 4,000 flavors of Oreos and Pop-Tarts now, because I think, like, the only thing these brands have left to do is try to, like, recreate the idea of tasting a new thing
and Kit
from
Kats.
this thing you're incredibly familiar with.
Yeah,
Kit Kats
like
also
that
do
too.
that. Yes, absolutely.
Yep. So anyway, that's the latest dust up over nonsense in our industry. It feels like there's one of these every week, and this week it was the Halo rings. My guess is, I think what's going to happen is people will actually play Campaign Evolved, and they will see that art actually fits in with everything else, and they'll be like, I jumped the gun.
See, once again, I don't think it does fit. I think the outside of that ring looks a completely different scale from the inside of the ring. That's my.
I'm not seeing that.
Not my. Again, you're talking those girder structures. Those would be hundreds of miles wide.
Yeah, but why is that not okay?
Because that's not how you depict scale in model making. Like that's the reason the original one.
But again, the camera's so close.
But again, the camera isn't close. The camera's hundreds of miles away
but
from
it's
the ring.
like, but the ring is like 500 miles wide. That is close to a 500 mile wide ring.
Yeah, but you still shouldn't be able to see detail. Like if I'm 500,
you should.
No, you shouldn't, because if I'm 500 miles away from the ground, I can't see Times Square. Like they look.
But if they're that big, you can.
But they can't.
You said
be
that girder's the size of Pennsylvania.
Right,
it's not the size of
Times
Times
Square.
Square.
But it can't be, because when material gets that big, it just turns into jello. You would need to build these things out of much smaller structures that form superstructures. And that's more or less what they're depicting in the original ring design there. That's why there's all those little pricks of light, because those are like little windows the size of like airplane hangars that are popping out through the, and those aren't on the new one because they dropped that scale of detail. And they probably did that because otherwise they would have had some poor artist working on that for a fucking year, and you just can't spend that kind of time and money on it. Like I understand why they did it. It's just it doesn't quite track with the eye the same way. And like again, I think the Death Star comparison is the most significant. Like we look at the way they depict the Death Star's surface from far away, from when they're kind of over it, and when they're right on in the trench or in the superstructure in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of those girder things look more like something you'd see on the surface rather than when you're pulled back approaching it. And I think that's one of the things that's fucking with people's minds on that. I don't think it's that important because like here's the thing, you're not going to look at that screen for 6 hours.
No.
Right? You're going to hit the button and fucking play the game.
Yeah.
That part of the mistake here was like you let people stare at this thing for like
6
hours and they just started
finding something
obsessing
to complain
over
about.
it, and here you go.
Yeah.
But as someone who wanted to be a special effects model person when I was a kid, the instant thing I saw on that was like, oh, that looks like a very different scale of Halo ring from the outside than it did in the original picture. And I'm like, oh, did they make the ring smaller? And then I looked at the inside with the land and the water. I'm like, no, that doesn't look like... It looks like the land and the water is still the same. It's supposed to be the same scale. I can't imagine they make the Halo ring smaller. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be the same ring, right?
Right.
It's just an aesthetic choice that I think doesn't work for a lot of people, and I understand why. But again, just press start. Just press start and stop looking at it.
It's
like,
funny.
I don't know what else to tell you, man.
Things are slow right now, and so people are just finding things to obsess over, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, that's our last topic for GameFace, episode 485, which means there is just one thing left to do. That's right. It's time for Name That Game Tune, brought to you by Soundwizardry.com, the absolute wizards of audio. If you're working on a video game right now and your sound team sucks or they're jerks and you're tired of working with them, contact Soundwizardry.com. They will upgrade your squad across the board. Yeah, they work in audio, but they've been working in game development for decades, and they understand every part of the development process and how their work and their audio fits into it. Contact Soundwizardry.com, whether you're making a game, a film, a podcast, a TV show. It does not matter. They are the wizards of sound, people. Contact them. Improve your project right now. In fact, they're so awesome that we played this cool game called Name That Game Tune, where I play 5 samples from a video game, and you try to guess the name of the game before this guy. There really are no rules anymore. You can play every single week. It's all about who wins the most by the end of the year. Whoever has the most wins will win the prize at the end of 2026. All right, let me get everything set up here. Everybody on YouTube, thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the awesome chat. Thank you for making our show better. We love you guys, but you do need to head over to Twitch. If you want to play, go to twitch.tv/SiftedGames. Is your headphone level okay?
Yeah.
You're good? Okay. All right, let me pull up the soundboard here. Make sure the chat is at the bottom, which it is. And we're ready to rock. Are you ready to play Name That Game Tune, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys ready to play Name That Game Tune? Here's the first sample in 3, a 2, a 1. AJ, you're leaving before playing Name That Game Tune again. Have a good week, brother. Much love. See if we got any guesses from that first one. Marathon, no. Donkey Kong Country, no. Body Harvest, no. Code Veronica, no. That would be very sly of me, though. Maybe for next week. Resident Evil 2, no. Baldur's Gate 2, no. Chronicles of Riddick, no. Black Ops 3, no.
Silent Hill 3.
Not Silent Hill 3. Black Ops 3, no. I already said that. Dishonored, nope. It's always hard to get it on the first one, unless I really screw up. And sometimes I do. Blood Rain 2, no. Thief, that's not it. Turok 2, that's not it. Alien Isolation's not it. Resident Evil Outbreak, nope.
Code Veronica.
No. Somebody guessed that already, actually.
Did they?
Yeah, and I said maybe next week. Resistance Fall of Man, no. Any last guesses on that first one before we move to number 2? Resident Evil 1, no. Any last guesses? Going once. Going twice. Oh, Control. Nope. Not Control either. Hydrophobia, no. Any last guesses? Going once. Going twice. They keep popping up at the last second. Evil Within, no. I see people guessing over on YouTube. You guys can't win over there. If you want to play, you have to come over to Twitch. Any last guesses on that first one? Going once. Or going twice. Sold. Here's the second sample in 3, 2, 1. It's a long one. Dead Space, no. Metal Gear Solid, no. Silent Hill 3, nope. Another Metal Gear Solid guess, no. Resident Evil 1, no.
Silent Hill 2?
No. The Thing, no. Half-Life 2, no. Majora Tom, thank you for Twitch Prime, brother. Until Dawn, no. Dark Souls 2, not it either. Silent Hill was already guessed. No. Metal Gear Solid 3, no. Oddworld Abe's Odyssey is not it. Heretic 2 is not it. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, no. Portal 1, no. Dino Crisis, not it. Oh, that would have been Slick of Me as well. We just talked about it last week. Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. No. I will always read that completely anytime somebody guesses it. BioShock, no. Any more guesses? SimCity, no.
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
No. SimCity, no. The Suffering, no. Alien Isolation, that's not it. Dead Space 2 or 3, nope. You can't say 2 or 3. You have to pick one. The Evil Within, someone already guessed that. Nope. Nier Automata, no. Second Sight, no. That sample got people thinking, though. That's for sure. It really caught them somehow. Portal 2, no. Dino Crisis, somebody guessed that already. Nope. Parasite Eve, no. Turning Point, Fall of Liberty, no. That's very obscure, though, but it's not it. Any last guesses on that second one before we move on? There's Luna with her guess. Her guess is meow. All right, here's the third sample. In 3, 2, 1, kaboom!
Put some clothes on, will you? And don't forget to act like a human once you're overground.
Manhunt, no. Deadly Premonition, no. I will allow it. Oh, it's gone already. Fallout 1, no. Perfect Dark, no. Oddworld, no. Kill All Humans, no. The Suffering, nope. Hybrid Heaven, we have a winner. Checkmate 079. It is Hybrid Heaven. Good job. You got it. Checkmate 0079. Got it. It is Hybrid Heaven. Here are the last two samples. Here's the fourth one. That's climbing up and down the ladders in that game, I believe. Which you will never forget if you, because it happens all the time. Here's the last one. The sound of footsteps and walking in that game are so annoying. That's why I put them as like the fourth and fifth clues. Because if you played that game, you will never forget the sound of climbing up and down the ladders and the sound of the footsteps.
Oh, I played it. But it sounds like every other footstep in climbing the ladders.
Really?
I mean, it sounds like every horror game of that era to me. The worst footsteps in any game ever are is from Record of Lodoss War on Dreamcast.
Oh.
That there's a different footstep sound for every single shoe in the game and every material type. And the the plate armor shoes were so annoying that I had my character run around barefoot the whole game.
Oh. So someone said they had never heard of Hybrid Heaven. It is oh boy. It's an N64 game. It's a cross between like an action adventure and a turn-based RPG where you fight with like your fists and you target the enemy's body parts. Like you target their head or their right arm or their left arm and you can disable them. Like it's an insane game.
It was Konami.
Yeah.
I get a game that probably the closest comparison of later games would be that game Breakdown.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That like first person.
That's pretty accurate.
Game.
Yeah.
I feel like Breakdown was.
That was a Bandai
by
Namco game, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Yeah, I remember
with
that game.
The big red fist on the
cover.
Yeah.
I almost blew it because I don't know if you remember, Matt. When
you did mention Hybrid Heaven when you first got here.
I totally blew it because I actually had some time to myself this weekend, and I took that time to get like all my N64 stuff out because Matt bought me the analog 3D. So I finally had a little bit of time to like get my saves out and stuff. And I mentioned to him when I got here, I'm like, oh, I found my save for Hybrid Heaven, and I started playing it. And then I was like, oh no, what have I done? And that's why I would not look at you at all the whole time that game was going on. I was like, nope, that's not it. That's not it. It's funny. All right. That's going to do it for GameFace episode 485. A reminder that if you want to support us financially, and we really appreciate it if you would do that, please head over to patreon.com/SIFTD. That's SIFTD. For $5 a month, you get all our content early. You get the show 3 days early, Pactor Factor a week early. all our content at least 3 days early. And even though we've been working on that lately, it's still at least 3 days. So that'd be great if you could help us there. That's really kind of the lifeblood that keeps us going. If you don't have money, and I know a lot of people are in that boat right now, so I totally get it, but you are still an Amazon Prime member, you can help us out with Twitch Prime. We talk about it on the show all the time. Maybe somebody's going to pop in there with the Twitch Prime right now and chat. If not, it's cool. We talk about it all the time, and basically all you're doing is you're subscribing to our Twitch channel for free with your Amazon Prime subscription. It gives us a free $2.50 every month. Not only do you help us, you also get Pactor Factor a week early with the people who are paying for Pactor Factor, our patrons. So if you go to twitch.tv/SiftedGames and subscribe with your free subscription from Twitch Prime, you can then watch Pactor Factor the minute we publish it for our patrons. So there's a huge perk there. We'd really appreciate it if you could do that. But if you don't have Amazon Prime, then just like the show, comment on the show, share the show. We talked about this last week. It's the thing that we're really lacking, is having people going out and sharing the show to their friends, their fellow gamers that they know, on their social media feeds. Like, that can really make a difference. That's how we get new people who've never heard of us before, and they check out GameFace and they're like, damn, how did I not know about this podcast? This is freaking awesome. Look at that B-roll. Anyway, it'd be awesome if you could do any of that stuff. And if not, that's totally cool as well. Just, if you're watching the show and ads are being served, that's awesome too. So any help you can give us, we appreciate all of it. And let's see, next week, Matt, we're going to have Star Fox. Reviews for that actually came out today. I saw some people gave it a perfect 10. Which I was kind of... Even I love Star Fox 64, but I was like, dang, okay. But then other people gave it like an 8. So the reviews are kind of all over the place, but you have to wait till next week to find out what Matt and I think of the new Star Fox for Switch 2. And of course, I'm sure crazy stuff will happen in the next 6 days, because it will be 6 days. We'll be back on Tuesday. Crazy stuff will happen in the next 6 days, so we have yet another awesome episode of GameFace. So everybody, have yourselves a great week filled with great games. GameFace is up and out.